One of the storied venues in all of sports, Lambeau Field in Green Bay, where today the defending world champions host the Buffalo Bills. Winner of only 6 games, the Bills find themselves in the unaccustomed position of staying home for the holidays. But NFL professionals are motivated by pride, and hopes for an upset fall on the shoulders of Alex Van Pelt, getting his 3rd start at quarterback, and of Pro Bowler Bryce Paup, the former Packer, a key player in Buffalo's still potent defense. The Packers get their final playoff tune-up. They've clinched the division, but individual goals remain. Brett Favre in search of an unprecedented 3rd straight MVP title. And Dorsey Levens within striking distance of the Packers' single-season rushing record. But the day could belong to a pair of ultimate warriors, Reggie White and Bruce Smith, arguably the finest defensive ends to have ever played the game. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Green Bay. Tom Hammond and Randy Cross. The Buffalo Bills would like nothing better than to end a disappointing season with a victory over the world champions. Alex Van Pelt will be at quarterback today. Bruce Smith promises maximum effort, and he has an interesting matchup with a Packer rookie.
He does. Ross Verba, the rookie out of Iowa, goes against him. This is a very confident young man, and, you know, he's made comments like, "Bring it on, baby. This is just another jersey in front of me." Well, you know, this guy is one of those guys. He's not so much he doesn't know what he doesn't know. I don't think he wants to know what he doesn't know. But we know some things about Bruce Smith. This is a guy over his career has been the man for the Buffalo Bills. You said it. He's one of the greatest ever. And for this young tackle to be successful, he's got to be strong and physical on Brett Favre's backside. Bruce Smith was embarrassed last week by Tony Baselli. That's a bad combination coming into a game like this that Bruce knows is his last game of the year.
Well, the Packers want to keep their 22-game home winning streak intact and send a message for the playoffs. Brett Favre said this should be a fun game, not a whole lot of pressure. But he's also thinking about his 3rd straight MVP title. And, Randy, I think his numbers are good enough.
Well, I think he's the MVP of this year. There's guys like Barry Sanders in Detroit, maybe a dark horse. Woodson won the Heisman. Can Carnell Lake do it in Pittsburgh as a defender? But these numbers Brett Favre has put up this year are as good as the ones in the last 2 years that he won the MVP. And for my money, when you have an MVP, it's down to one thing and one thing alone. There's guys out there that make a difference. In the league in 1997, Brett Favre has made the difference for the best team right now in the NFL.
And Brett himself told us he thought this was indeed his best season. And when you're divisional champions, it's very easy to get in the holiday spirit.
Christmas, baby. Just a season to be jolly.
Welcome back to Green Bay. I'm Jim Graham, now joined on the sidelines by the head coach of the Green Bay Packers, Mike Holmgren. Mike, what's your approach today?
Well, we're going to win the game. We're going to try real hard to win the game, and I've talked to the team about that all week. Now, if the game dictates I can substitute a little bit, I will, Jim. But other than that, we're just going to try and keep our momentum. I think it's important to play a real fine game today, so whoever looks at us on film for the playoffs sees the team they're going to play.
If you get a lead, will you try and get Brett out of there? Because you're kind of in a catch-22 situation. If a guy goes down and gets hurt, the entire world's going to want to know why was he playing.
Yeah, I know. And that's, you roll the dice a little bit that way, but I will try and get Brett out of there if I can. Steve Bono has been prepared. I've talked to him about playing, but that's the only position I've talked to about possible substitution.
Mike, thank you. Good luck today.
All right, Jim. Thanks.
All right, let's send it back upstairs to you, Tom.
All right, thank you, Jim. Packers win the toss. They will receive 31 degrees, the wind chill 25, and number 89 in the white jersey of a Buffalo Bill is Steve Tasker, who has raised special teams play to an art form. This will be his final game. He's announced his retirement, and Tasker talking to Jim Gray just as he came on the field before the game, saying he couldn't think of a better place to go out than historic Lambeau Field. This man, for his leadership, all his admirable qualities, he did raise the consciousness of special teams play throughout the National Football League. Steve Tasker calling it quits after 13 years. And going deep will be Aaron Hayden and Bill Schrader of the Green Bay Packers.
And this is the one area of a football game, really, for the Green Bay Packers. Mike Holmgren feels, Tom, that has really been missing for the Packers. The return game, both kickoff and punt return. You remember those great ones in the Super Bowl last year by Desmond Howard? Well, that has been a missing ingredient for this team so far in '97.
In fact, he said that was the only category in which they were lacking versus last year's Super Bowl champions.
Well, that's when you know you're on a roll, when you can get picky and go to something like that.
Steve Christie ready to kick it off for the Buffalo Bills. And the game underway. This will be Schrader from about the 8. A seam up the middle. Schrader just tripped up by Christie, the tackler, who saved the touchdown with help from Derek Holmes. 40-yard return, and are the Packers ready to play? Looks like it.
Nothing real tricky about this. You see he's going to start a little bit to his left and then blast it right up the middle. Coverage teams can be the true indicator of how ready a team is ready. And right now, Buffalo Bills did a very poor job on that opening kickoff.
So the Packers begin with excellent field position, spot the ball at about their own 47-yard line. Chimura, the tight end, resetting to the right. Give to the tailback, Dorsey Levens. Levens behind a block from Henderson. Couldn't get going. Stopped for a loss by Jones. And here are the lineups. Green Bay going with Favre, who's headed to the Pro Bowl, along with Dorsey Levens, who needs 111 yards to set the Packers' all-time record held by Jim Taylor. Chimura also heading to the Pro Bowl. In the lineup front for Green Bay, Verba, the rookie tackle, matched up many times against Bruce Smith, although Aaron Taylor sure to help out on many occasions. There's a look at Verba, the rookie from Iowa, first-round draft choice. Favre's first pass. Wings it down the sideline, intended for Freeman. It comes up short. And Thomas Smith and Favre is down. Took a hit after he released the ball, and this is the worst nightmare for the Green Bay coaches and fans. Holmgren saying that he would take the risk.
Exactly, and he took the hit from the other side. It was not Bruce Smith, it was Phil Hansen that came in and got the Packer quarterback. Verba, the left tackle, does a nice job of setting short on Bruce Smith, but watch the top of the screen right there. Coming through clean is Hansen, planting Brett Favre on that throwing shoulder. Watch the arm and the shoulder of Brett Favre as he's put down to the ground. That's got to be the main concern right now for Mike Holmgren, though Favre is still in the football game. No one's ever doubted his toughness, but this is a situation where Mike Holmgren and his staff have got to keep a close eye on this guy, because he'll play until that arm falls off, and that's something the Packers don't need.
Bills have 45 sacks on the season as Levens churning his way, but short of the first down, tackled by Marlo Perry. So on fourth down, the Packers will punt. Favre staying in the game after taking that hit from Hansen, but a little gingerly walking to the sideline here.
Well, so much for the fun factor. Brett Favre told us yesterday, well, I'm going to go out there and have fun and have a good time and run this offense. You get smacked like that early, it takes the fun out and makes you concentrate a whole lot more.
Hendrick will punt for Green Bay, and Tasker, the deep man, standing at his 10. This one skies off the foot of Hendrick. Tasker will let it bounce, and it will reach the end zone for the touchback. Oh, no, they say he touched it. They say that it was touched by a Buffalo Bill. Now they're arguing the case. Davis has it for Green Bay. Is it a Green Bay touchdown? Let's see. The arguments continue. Tyrone Davis came up with a football, and it was ruled apparently touched by a Bill. Steve Tasker, what a way for him to end his career. He's vigorously arguing. Slaps his helmet off. That's a flag, automatic. Tasker is livid.
He's making that hand signal there, saying it missed me by that much. Now there's Tasker. He's getting away from it. But actually the ball is hit right there. Ray Jackson, the backup cornerback, trying to slide in there. What in the heck are you doing near that football in that situation?
Unbelievable. Ray Jackson had the ball just grazed the back of his jersey. There he is, number 31. Davis falls on it for the Packers, and they have a gift touchdown. They're good enough. You don't need to give them one.
That is, you know, it's the definition of a gift against a football team that's seriously overmatched. Marv Levy knew to come into this game and win it, you had to do everything perfectly. And that's about as far from perfect as you get. That is absolutely ugly.
Ryan Longwell will attempt the extra point. Puts it up and through. A disastrous beginning for the Buffalo Bills after they had held the Packers, forcing them to punt. Jackson tries to get out of the way. The ball grazes him And the Packers have an easy one to lead 7-0.
The NFL on NBC is brought to you by Dr. Pepper and your local Dr. Pepper bottler. Dr. Pepper, this is the taste. By Acura, the true definition of luxury. Yours. By IBM, solutions for a small planet. And by Brewery Fresh Budweiser, who reminds you fresh beer tastes better.
Welcome back to Lambeau Field. Ryan Longwell kicking off for the Packers after they score a touchdown on the fumble. Moles and Galloway, and they'll watch it sail out of the end zone for the touchback. Now here's the latest. Steve Tasker has been ejected from the game. His final game as a pro. He's been thrown out of the game for arguing. And let's go down to Jim Gray for a report.
All right, Tom. Well, Mike Carey, the crew chief here today, the referee, didn't like the behavior of Steve Tasker, so that was the last play that you're going to see Steve Tasker. He said what a thrill it was going to be for him to finish his career here in Lambeau Field. Don't think he meant it for it to end that way. As for Brett Favre, he told the training staff from the Packers he didn't need any assistance, he didn't need any help. He was just shaken up, and he will return to the game and is apparently all right. Tom?
All right, thank you, Jim. Ironic that one of the class acts in the NFL, Steve Tasker, ejected from his final game, and the ball didn't even hit him. He actually was not involved. So now trailing 7-0, Alex Van Pelt under center for the Bills. And changing the play. They give to Thurman Thomas. Gets a yard and a half. Bernardo Harris makes the tackle.
Now, what makes this so bad is Tasker's back for the punt. He's screaming, fire, fire, get away from the ball. That should tell Ray Jackson just to peel off and head in the opposite direction. Don't get anywhere near it. I'm not catching it. It's hot. You see it bounces right off his shoulder right there. Wasn't much contact, but that's all it takes.
Second and 8 for Van Pelt. Sixth game he's played this season, his third start. Thurman Thomas working his way close to the 25-yard line where he's tackled by Reggie White and Eugene Robinson. There's a penalty marker down. So face mask against Holmgren's Green Bay defense. Van Pelt starts at quarterback. The incomparable Thurman Thomas over 11,000 yards rushing. Remersma early. Moles gets a start coming off his best game against Jacksonville a week ago. And Lonnie Johnson, the two tight ends set up. Reuben Brown headed to the Pro Bowl from that left guard spot for the second consecutive year.
It's going to be second and short, Tom, because it was one of those incidental 5-yard face masks.
Thurman Thomas, the lone setback. Now the tight end, Remersma, draws a flag. I think he moved, and then he tried to go in motion, and the officiating staff said, false start.
False start on the offense, number 85. 5 yards, second down.
So the 5-yard step off against the Bills gives us a chance to check the defense for the Packers. Reggie White, the all-time leader in sacks, and headed to the Pro Bowl for the 12th time, an NFL record. Also on the defense, Leroy Butler is headed to the Pro Bowl. He's the strong safety for this great Packer defense. Thomas tries to turn the corner, got a block there. Thurman Thomas crosses the 35, has a Buffalo first down. Bernardo Harris chases him out of bounds after a gain of 13.
And what really sets this up is what Green Bay is trying to do. Fritz Shurmur is their defensive coordinator. He's going to move his safeties up tight. There's Leroy Butler up at the linebacker position, going inside on a blitz. That enables Thurman Thomas to get outside and get those yards. You're going to see this constantly out of Green Bay. They aggressively attack with their safeties and leave their corners manned up a lot.
First down play. Ball spotted at the Buffalo 37. They trail 7-0. Thurman Thomas on the delayed handoff. Another nice run for Thurman Thomas to the 45-yard line, or just short of the 45. Butler hits him there. Thurman Thomas telling us yesterday, after 4 carries for 25 yards to open this game, that he still thought he could make a play, although he can't take the wear and tear in this style offense as much as he used to be. So he's more than willing to let Antoine Smith, their talented rookie, get plenty of playing time.
But the Bills' problem is, Tom, Antoine Smith is a young, every down running back. He's not a guy that needs to be spelled.
Smith is in there now, and he gets the call, hesitates, and then drives ahead close to the first down. I think he has it short of midfield. Eugene Robinson from the free safety spot, along with Leroy Butler, making the stop on Smith. It is a Buffalo first down.
You know, you look at the numbers these two running backs have put up, you see a normal situation for an Antoine Smith when he doesn't have a future Hall of Famer like Thurman Thomas with him. This guy's going to have almost 90% of those rushes and be well over 1,000 yards, but they've had to share the position. That won't be the case, I don't think, next year.
5 rushes, 30 yards for the Bills. Here's another running play. This time Smith hit and dropped at the line of scrimmage by a host of green-shirted Packer defenders. Butler was first to get there, got help from Brian Williams.
Yeah, I talked about Leroy Butler and the safeties being so aggressive. You know, really the key against this defense is making the defense make a quick decision. And by doing that, the offense has to do things very, very fast. This is not a string-it-out type of defense. This defense is going to attack you, and you have to make your decisions so quickly. People like Leroy Butler can make a quarterback and a running back pay because he's one of the best safeties at stripping footballs.
2nd and 9. Van Pelt has yet to attempt to pass. This will be his first. Drills it complete, but short of the first down to the Packer 45-yard line. George Kuntz immediately makes the hit on Smith, and then draws the Kuntz cheers from the faithful here at Lambeau Field.
Hey, that play there is a good example of what this Green Bay defense is trying to do to the Buffalo offense. Mike Holmgren's defense wants to take the wide receivers out of the football game and make the middle of the field beat them.
Methodical drive by the Bills, playing a little ball control. It's 3rd and 3. Van Pelt scrambling and got away and threw it away, and lucky it wasn't intercepted. Similar to the play he made against Jacksonville that cost him last week. Eugene Robinson had a clear shot at the ball as Reggie White was bearing down on Van Pelt.
Oh, Eugene, you're not going to get a present under your tree later next week with the Knights are looking wrapping and ribbon on it than this one right here that Van Pelt throws up. This is desperation. This is dumb. There's nobody there except for Eugene Robinson, and it bounces right off his elbows.
So on 4th down, Chris Moore will punt. Sharper is the deep man for Green Bay. Sharper will field it at the 18. Got away from one man, from 2. Still on his feet. Sharper to the 40-yard line and knocked out of bounds there by Smedley. A 22-yard return of a 36-yard punt. Oh, the Bills special teams. Ouch.
The NFL on NBC is brought to you by Dr. Pepper and your local Dr. Pepper bottler. Dr. Pepper, this is the taste.
The tundra just barely frozen at Lambeau Field, 31 degrees. The big debate this week has been, well, is it tundra? It has to be frozen, or is it just semi-frozen tundra? What's your answer to that?
With this weather, if it rains, they got mud. Nothing freezes. This is springtime in Green Bay.
Only 31 degrees at kickoff, although the wind chill's 25. Bruce Smith comes charging across. So was he drawn? He's pointing at Verba.
Yeah, Verba twitched.
Ball start on the offense, number 78. 5 yards, still first down.
You get a permanent twitch playing opposite Bruce Smith.
Let's go down and back to that 3rd down play. Watch Reggie White making this pass rush on Alex Van Pelt. Watch Van Pelt's knees. Before he starts to throw this thing, is the knee down? Absolutely. The knee is down. That is a sack for Reggie White. It's been ruled a sack.
And it's 176.5 now for his career. Dorsey Levens got about 5 yards.
Yeah, I talked about that gift wrap present that Eugene Robinson dropped. Well, it wouldn't have been an interception anyway, but a little consoling from his head coach. You know, in case you didn't notice, Eugene, I think you should have had that.
Eugene, of course.
I love it. You know, Holmgren's got a great relationship with his players here. I mean, he really makes it quite clear what he expects of them.
And Eugene is the leading active interceptor with 49 in his career. Favre, short drop, fires and drops. by Mickens. Well, things have been so fast and furious, we haven't set the Bills defense for you yet. And they've gone to that four-man front, chiefly because of the injury to Chris Spielman, the linebacker. And with Ted Washington and Bruce Smith anchoring that right side, that's a pretty potent combo, both headed to the Pro Bowl, as is Bryce Paup, the former Packer. Spent 5 years here in Green Bay and still lives here in the offseason.
You want to talk about a guy that really deserves to be in that Pro Bowl. Big Ted Washington inside playing defensive tackle. He has had a fabulous season for the Buffalo Bills. Should have had it last year, got the Pro Bowl this year.
Said he was not optimistic because he hadn't been voted in last year. Favre, wide open, Freeman, diving grab at the 40-yard line. Covered there by Ken Irvin, but it's free time again. Antonio Freeman for 18 yards.
When you have a quarterback like Brett Favre and you're a receiver, you run the routes because you know how perfectly he knows this offense, and you get to that spot. Because Brett Favre is throwing this to a spot. Receivers don't have to lay out like that when he's throwing to the person. Because Freeman knows that spot he's throwing at is just outside the numbers, and he barely stretches to get to Brett's spot.
First down, Green Bay, just inside the Buffalo 40. First quarter, they're up 7-0. Levens. Couple of yards. Ted Washington up against the run, stacking it up. We asked Big Ted what he weighed yesterday. We never got an answer, did we?
Happy holidays, I believe was the reply. You know, Big Ted, though, we talked about him a little while ago. We asked him yesterday also, Tom, you know, is this game about pride? Is this game about being a professional? He looks at us kind of sarcastically, says, hey, look, pride went out the window a couple of weeks ago. This is about playing for your paychecks next year. Players can't figure that out. They might not be here next year.
And Washington, a free agent, says he wants to stay in Buffalo, but to avoid the protracted battle that Bruce Smith had. Here's Favre. Pass knocked away from Robert Brooks and a penalty down. Marker on the play. It looks like Burris will be called for interference.
And it's with that offhand. He was swatting with the left, but they're going to get him with that hook on the right side.
Pass interference on the defense, number 22. First down.
I talked about Brett Favre throwing at the spots. Robert Brooks knows where his spot is. You saw that right hand of Burris come around the right shoulder pad of Robert Brooks. See that right there? Twisting that right shoulder around. Got there just before the ball. Look at the right hand. Perfectly right there on the right shoulder and a little bit early. Good call.
So first down now from the 19-yard line. Favre wings it to the end zone and incomplete. Chimura almost made a one-handed stab covered by the linebacker John Holisek. Chimura almost wrapped that big paw around him.
Well, he and Brett Favre have a great relationship, but you got to know right here, I've said it already, Brett is throwing this to a specific spot and telling his receivers, you go get it. Look at the way he lofts that over the zone right there. Holisek can't get to it. Perfectly laid into the tight end. And the hand, the knee, and the foot keep it in play. There's one catch, there's two catches, there's three catches. You don't see the bounce off the foot, but almost.
Chimura has caught 6 touchdown passes from Brett Favre this season. Hand off to Levens. Again, he finds it tough going on the run. Sean Moran makes the tackle. And Levens inching closer to that record held by Jim Taylor. Needed 111 yards coming in. And has 14 so far today.
And you have to say, Edgar Bennett, who last year ran great for the Packers, Achilles injury early in the year, gave Dorsey Levens a full-time shot. Dorsey Levens trained this offseason as hard as he's ever trained. Said he had to be ready to be available for that, and he finds himself in the last game of the year looking to break that man's record, Jim Taylor.
Levens already has broken his total yards from scrimmage record this season. Favre to Freeman to the 10-yard line. Hit hard after he made the catch by Jeff Burris and others, but he held on, and it should be a first down, very close.
This is the West Coast offense in Green Bay being run by the Mad Bomber, Brett Favre. Throwing to his spots, knowing he has the receivers. He said he was going to have fun, and right now, throwing the ball, Brett Favre is smiling and dialing.
And Freeman holding on despite the hit from Schultz and Burris. And it is close enough they will measure for the first down. The ball just inside the Buffalo 10.
It's one thing that makes these Packer receivers so special, actually, is the fact that they do go inside so well. They're not big physical guys, but Brett is so accurate. He can put the ball where they can catch it and then be able to get down and protect themselves.
That's about as close as it gets, just an inch or two short, and it's fourth down.
It's a three-linker. About 3 links on that chain from a first down.
Maybe 2.5.
Well, you look at William Henderson, this big running back they have at fullback for the Green Bay Packers. Mike Holmgren knows he has a power running game, and that's been the biggest difference in the last 2 years. Is Brett Favre's always been able to throw the ball well, but now with Bennett last year, Levens this year, and a big power fullback in William Henderson, he's got some oomph to his attack.
Here is Henderson, all 250 pounds, shaking off the initial hit from Washington and getting the first down. Schultz had to finish him off.
And he gets that first down there with a little of that oomph. You know, he's a guy that says, hey, look, I love blocking. That is my job, because, you know, everybody hits you when you run with the ball. And not everybody's going to get a shot at big William Henderson, but oomph and a little more oomph for first down.
That's his 31st carry of the season. 9th play of the drive coming up. It's 1st and goal from the 8. Levens tripped up at the 5-yard line by Henry Jones.
We told you about that matchup between the rookie Ross Verba from Iowa and Bruce Smith. Let's check in and see how these two are doing. It's a running game. Verba's giving him some of that short set, trying to sell pass, and also trying to sell the fact that I'm not too impressed with who you are, but he hasn't seen a real wide Bruce Smith rush yet.
Short drop, Favre looks one way, then the other. Now being chased and got it away for the touchdown to Freeman.
Holding on the defense, number 28. That penalty is declined. Score is good.
Thomas Smith's hold declined, and Freeman has his 12th touchdown catch of the season.
And what sets Brett Favre apart from all the other quarterbacks besides Steve Young and guys like Mark Brunell is when he moves and he gets active with his arm, he can throw from any position you can imagine. He can throw bullets from there.
Longwell's extra point is through the uprights. And with just over 3 minutes left in the opening quarter, the Packers take a 14-0 lead as Antonio Freeman has another score. Welcome back to Green Bay, where the Buffalo Bills' first quarter woes continue. Only 19 points they've scored. Longwell's kick to Eric Mould. Grabbed around the neck and taken down at about the 17-yard line by Travis Jervey, the special teams player par excellence. Brett Favre and the Packers off to a fast start, up by 14. Tom Hammond, Randy Cross, Jim Gray, Lambeau Field, 14-0 Packers. Alex Van Pelt looking for some offense. Bills have scored 19 points all season in the first quarter. Here's Antoine Smith, stopped for a loss by Gabe Wilkins. As we go back to the Green Bay touchdown.
You know, Brett Favre, quarterback out of Kill, Mississippi. Watch his body. Watch his body get out of position and the Kill cannon and save him for that touchdown to Freeman. And why does he have that time? Watch the rookie, Verba. I said short set. Look at that. Right on the line of scrimmage. Short set. And push Mr. Smith in there where you got a little bit of help.
Van Pelt on second down has a man Remersma wide open, and the big tight end has a first down to the 33-yard line, hit by Robinson and Butler. It covered 14 yards.
And this is something Buffalo and Alex Van Pelt have to do offensively, is move the receivers around. Remersma lined up just as a little bit of a split wide tight end, got him out in some space, and got him into a hole in the zone.
2:10 left and counting first quarter. Antoine Smith, nowhere to go, and taken down for a loss. Well, we invite you to go online for complete coverage of the NFL on MSNBCSports.com. NFL history has proven that championship rings are won on the ground and in the trenches. Some call it ball control offense. Others say it's possession. We call it our first installment of Smash Mouth Football, with insight from Gil Brandt and from Randy Cross, who is the spearhead of some Smash Mouth Football in his 49ers days. That's all at MSNBCSports.com. Want to give us a little preview?
Look at the Green Bay Packers. That's been the difference. They've added the smash mouth on both sides of the ball.
Van Pelt, wide open. Antoine Smith makes the catch at the 40-yard line. He'll be short of the first down. Run out of bounds by George Kuntz.
And when you talk about the smash mouth on the other side of the ball with Buffalo, they've been the smashee a lot more than they've been the smasher. The offensive line started the year playing absolutely terrible. It's really the reason those numbers have been so bad. But Marv Levy said that really there's one group that's improved the most over the length of this season. It's been that offensive line.
And in the absence of Jim Kelly, the quarterback spot has gotten most of the attention, although not strictly their fault. Van Pelt rushed that time, had to unload it as Leroy Butler came on a blitz. Lonnie Johnson, the intended receiver, but it goes incomplete.
You mentioned Jim Kelly in the situation here with Buffalo. Really, you've heard the term power vacuums before when you lose a great front office person or a great coach. There has been a leadership vacuum with the Buffalo Bills. And you don't feel that any more than when you get it at a quarterback position. It's not to say Alex Van Pelt can't throw the ball and doesn't know the offense, or the young Todd Collins doesn't know the offense. But when you're as assertive as that kind of a quarterback as Kelly was, the next guy in, I don't think has a shot of being assertive.
Moore's punt to Sharper. Fair catch is a flag down. We'll check the penalty. Thurman Thomas even telling us yesterday he was the vocal man in the huddle, and he didn't like that roll. Hold against Green Bay. It was a 48-yard punt, and Buffalo will have the option here.
But, leadership, though, Tom, isn't about flapping your lips. Anybody can talk. It's a guy that really has shown he can do it in the tough situations, and it makes the play, makes the initiative. And that's what made Kelly so special with this offense. He had that for so many years.
During the kick, holding on the receiving team, number 26, 10 yards, first down.
Collins called for the hold, Mark Collins. The quarterback situation, Todd Collins started, was ineffective. Van Pelt came off the bench and rallied them, got us a couple of starts. They did win one game over Miami without scoring a touchdown. Last week, Van Pelt came off the bench and nearly rallied them against the Jaguars, although his interception late killed any chance of winning the game. So Marv Levy said he has moved the team on occasion, so we'll give it to Van Pelt. We asked Alex where he fit into the quarterback situation with Todd Collins for next season, and he said he honestly didn't know, but he wasn't approaching this game as an audition because he didn't want to put that pressure on himself. Todd Collins watching from the bench, and prevailing wisdom is that Buffalo might seek a veteran quarterback free agent in the offseason. Dorsey Levens carries to the 10-yard line. Bryce Pop hits him there.
Well, the organization has made no bones about the fact that they're going to be looking at veteran leadership at the quarterback position. Though they couldn't ask for a worse year. Really, if you're looking to pick up any kind of a free agent or somebody out there, though, there's been a lot of names bandied about. They need somebody that can actually come in here and take charge. Todd Collins was pretty much given the starting job at quarterback. And you don't come into this veteran group like this with a gift starting job and not have him look at you a little cockeyed, and he hasn't come through with his performance on the field.
And the first quarter will come to a close with the Buffalo Bills finding themselves in a familiar position. They're down 14 to the Green Bay Packers. Tom Hammond, Randy Cross, Jim Gray ready to start the second quarter at Lambeau Field with Green Bay up 14-0 on the Buffalo Bills. Second and 8. Green Bay with the ball second and 8 at their own 9-yard line. Play action fake. Favre with plenty of time. Hangs it up for Brooks. He's got it at the 45-yard line. Went up to get it over Jeff Burris. And it covers 38 yards.
As soon as Brett Favre sees Mr. Brooks, he ought to say thank you. Because Brett Favre puts this ball up here. He's got plenty of time. Great job by the offensive line. You want to pull a string and say, pull. Time to shoot it out of the air. But look at the concentration by Brooks. You follow that helmet. Follow the eyes as he follows the ball. Never loses concentration. Good coverage by Jeff Burris. Better concentration and catch by Robert Brooks.
Brooks, who blew out his knee in October of last season, has come back to be the second leading receiver for the Packers. That was his 57th catch. Here's a reverse and a fumble recovered by Buffalo at the 40-yard line. It was Ted Washington. Once he falls on that ball, forget about it. He just envelops it.
If there's still a ball there. Ted Washington did exactly what he's supposed to, staying home in the inside. This is a little razzle-dazzle. This is Mike Holmgren. Talked about making the statement to the teams coming down the road in the playoffs. They're giving a little statement as to what they have in their playbook. But one thing Robert Brooks doesn't have after getting that handoff is the ball. Just a mismatch. Levens kind of shovels it into the chest of Robert Brooks and doesn't give him a proper handoff and really a real shot at getting that ball. It was more of a short pass and a handoff.
Well, Buffalo hasn't gotten many turnovers this season and haven't taken advantage of them more often than not. They try to here. Van Pelt hangs it up for Early. He's got it for the touchdown. There's a penalty marker on the play. 47-yard touchdown catch. If it stands, it will not.
Jerry Ostrowski's talking to Carey there, the referee, protesting like he may be the guy to get that hand into the face. When you see that motion, it's usually what it means.
Illegal hands to the face on number 68 on the offense. 10-yard penalty, first down.
Actually against Corbin Lucina in there at guard. A nice job by that entire offense of picking up Leroy Butler, the safety who blitzes in, but watch the right guard right there, Corbin Lucina. He's got his hand, left hand. I don't see anything right there into the face. There was briefly a hand by Lucina into Santana Dotson's face, but it got right off the face mask.
That was a phantom call on Lucina, which nullified a long touchdown catch and a sparkling catch by Quinn Early in traffic.
This has been the 97 Bills in a bottle so far this year.
Van Pelt goes deep again, and he got a man behind the defense. It's Early again. Did he hold on? No. Incomplete. Thought he had it long enough, but the official says no.
Tom, Alex Van Pelt told us yesterday, I'm going to go down the field at least 10 times. To do that, he needs the protection. He's gotten it 2 plays in a row to take his shots down the field, and he's thrown 2 beautiful passes to his receivers. Should this be a catch? Absolutely.
Yes.
I guarantee you the great receivers on a good winning team on a roll make this catch. Alex Van Pelt drops this ball into a perfect spot to a usually sure-handed Quinn Early.
He got behind Doug Evans, and now it's 2nd and 20. 4 wide receivers set. The draw play to Thurman Thomas. Back to the line of scrimmage, nothing more. Brian Williams won the tackle. Well, tomorrow the NFL on NBC's regular season coverage concludes with a doubleheader starting at 12 noon Eastern. With the pregame show, we'll feature Barry Sanders and his quest to become the 3rd rusher in NFL history to go over 2,000 yards in a season. Plus, how's this for a trio? Troy Aikman, Steven Spielberg, and General Norman Schwarzkopf. We'll see how they've joined forces to help seriously ill children. Very special story in this holiday season. And the games, well, some dandies. We'll tell you about those in a moment. Van Pelt. Complete. Early stopped short of the first down by Tyrone Williams. Covered 18 yards, but just short of first down territory.
Oh, you go for it in this situation right here. There's no doubt about it. You slap this thing in there and you just dive it inside with a good power running game from Marv Levy.
And as we told you about the games coming up, game 1, most of you will see the Colts playing the role of spoiler, take on the Vikings. Win and you're in for the Vikes. Game 2, another win and you're in situation, the Jets and the Lions. Great games coming your way tomorrow as Green Bay poised to try to stop the Bills on 4th down, calling timeout. It's 14-0.
The NFL on NBC is brought to you by Dr. Pepper and your local Dr. Pepper bottler. Dr. Pepper, this is The Taste. By Compaq, the most popular computer in the world. By American Express, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, American Express helps you do more. And by Century, by Buick. Discover a little luxury in this century.
Well, the Bills have come up empty against the Cheeseheads so far. 4th down now. About 2 yards to go. Van Pelt through the hands of his intended receiver and incomplete. Quinn Early, Lonnie Johnson, and interesting that Quinn Early could have had 2 big plays, over 100 yards receiving on that drive. One called back by penalty, one ruled no catch. And the Bills will give it up on the missed 4th down attempt.
Well, how big was that phantom hand in the face on Corbin Lucina on this drive? But we talked about smash mouth earlier. We talked about running the ball. You've got Antoine Smith. You've got Thurman Thomas. I'm sorry. That was a 4th and short. You don't get cute on 4th and short. If you throw in that situation, you throw quick. You put your quarterback in a pocket like that, he's going to get hammered. Or he has very little chance of completing it like you just saw.
And the Bills once again failed to take advantage of a turnover after the fumble recovery by Washington. Green Bay's ball at their own 32-yard line. Short drop far in the flat to Freeman. Freeman gets 3 and then fumbles the ball. Still loose, and it will be still in bounds. And it looks like the Bills have it. If they rule the ball did stay in bounds.
The key is going to be when that ball came out, because it came out as he was hitting the ground, it looked like. Did it come out before he was down? You know, certainly Antonio Freeman's going to give you that story. It's going to be Buffalo Bills ball, but watch when the knee goes down and when the ball comes out, and that ball is coming out before the body hits the ground. Watch Antonio Freeman. His body gets parallel. I don't think that knee was down before the ball was coming out. It was fumbled as he was going down to the ground. Good call by the officials right there on the spot.
And then it nearly goes out of bounds, which would have meant that the Green Bay would have retained possession. Stayed in bounds. Bryce Popp got it. Looking for Moles, and he is out of bounds, incomplete. Covered well by Tyrone Williams. Bryce Popp making the fumble recovery from Scranton, Iowa. Population 575.
Look at Kurt Schultz, the safety, sticks his hand in there and just, I mean, we're talking inches above the ground. Antonio Freeman is, that ball is poked out of there, and then the fractured flickers occurred here as the ball rolls over to the sideline, but all for naught, it's Buffalo ball, and Van Pelt said, I'm going deep. If those corners want to challenge my receivers, I'll go downtown, and he sure has so far.
On the ground this time to Thurman Thomas. Flag late comes in after Thomas rambled for 7 or 8 yards. Mike Pryor makes the tackle.
And that flag came in from the area where holding's usually called on a tight end.
Holding on the offense, number 84. 10-yard penalty, remains 2nd down.
Lonnie Johnson, the tight end of the Buffalo Bills, working against Gabe Wilkins, the defensive end.
Well, the Bills have been their own worst enemy with penalties nullifying big games throughout this first half.
Hey, look at these numbers. This is what they've done over the last 7 games. Now picture yourself on the Buffalo defense. 20 points is a highlight against the Jets, and boy, if your offense is doing that, it's really hard not to cause a rebellion from your defense wanting to kill the offense.
Thurman Thomas admitted as much. Van Pelt drills it in traffic back to midfield. Quinn Early makes the catch. Doug Evans had pretty good coverage. Van Pelt was on target, and Early has officially his 2nd catch.
You talk about the offense not doing much and the defense wanting to have an uprising. I think the fact that there hasn't been is a great testament to 2 things. One, the veteran leadership on this team, especially on the defensive side, knowing that is counterproductive, and also the respect these football players have for Marv Levy and the control he has over his football team.
Van Pelt has made some nice throws so far. Hadn't gotten them much. Steps up, has another wide open receiver. It's Remersma fighting his way with Brian Williams holding on. Reggie White was again putting the pressure on Van Pelt. Already has a sack today.
Oh, and Reggie just sort of flat brings it. This is not cute. This is not as power. This is just going around with a quick rip on Ostrowski and almost getting there in time. I mean, that is a Reggie White patented move. Just when you're ready to get the smash in the face, Reggie White is going to go around you. Bruce Smith's more liable to go around you fast. Reggie White's liable to drive your head into your neck.
And another 4th down attempt upcoming. And Thurman Thomas is stopped short by Bernardo Harris. What a weekend, or Antoine Smith stopped by Harris. What a weekend for Harris. His second son was born on Thursday. He and his wife, Kelly giving birth to Blake Justin, born on Thursday, their second child.
Bernardo Harris, that middle linebacker, he has taken this job and made it his in Green Bay because of aggressive play. He was a free agent. Fritz Shurmur's found himself a football player at middle linebacker.
Good teams turn turnovers into points. Packers have, and the Bills have not. Green Bay ball just across their own 40. Dorsey Levens. Not much there, stacked up in the middle by Ted Washington.
You know, Brett Favre said his quarterback coach, Andy Reid, said, you know, if I had a young quarterback to train, I'd show him a lot of tape, but not much of yours. Not much of the classic follow-through. Well, watch what he does. I mean, he hands away. Just follow through. He bounces backwards. He says, that calls that my Elvis move.
Yeah. Favre said he's always had a strong arm, though. His dad, Irvin, was a high school coach, and while they were practicing, Brett would be on the sideline picking up footballs laying there and throwing them as far as he could, he said. In fact, he said some of it's hereditary. His dad was a pitcher at Southern Miss and always had a strong arm. There's another example as he sidearms it complete to Brooks. First down to the 40-yard line. Favre falling down, sidearms for 17 yards to Brooks.
Well, he's being pressured by Phil Hansen. You want to see what that Kiel cannon can do? He's going to get pressure. He's going to be moving back. Hansen's got a free shot. He just sort of sidearm it, falls backwards, and his receiver, Brooks, knows, hey, look, Brett's going to throw this to a spot. I better get to that spot. And Brooks turns, and just after he turns for that ball, pressure or not, Favre's got the ball right there.
Here's Brett Favre again. Wide open Brooks. Just short of the 20. Hit hard there, but too late by Jeff Burris and Kurt Schultz. Well, Favre is the master of the improvisation. Didn't need to there, but he said to us, I thought this was interesting. He said he laughs at the coaches every day. He said, I just get it done.
Well, you know, look what he does. Look along that passage. You're talking about a, you know, in the air, 25, 30 yards. A lot of quarterbacks try to kind of drop that and touch it over into a defense. There's no touch. This has got the touch of a hand grenade right there. That thing goes in there now and explodes into that receiver's chest.
He said early in his career he thought it was funny to throw as hard as he could and see it bounce off helmets. That one went through two players, one in green and one in white. It was Brooks and Burris.
Look at this guy. You know you're bringing some heat, Brett, when you can bounce it off two people. Average arms bounce it off one guy. This ball's still going so fast after it goes off the receiver's hands. Jeff Burris, I mean, that's high heat. We're doing baseball right now. You're talking about 95, 97 miles an hour. Go ahead and try to hit it. The heck with hitting it. How do you catch it?
That broke a string of 6 consecutive completions by Favre, and it's 2nd and 10. Levens with a seam. Levens just short of the touchdown. Tripped up by Kurt Schultz.
Any questions on what the difference is in the last 2 years in the Green Bay Packers? You've got a suffocating defense, and you've got a running game with a great lead fullback like William Henderson getting a good block there, and a running back last year Bennett, this year Levens. How's it open up? Look at Chimura working on the right side with Dotson. That is called hit and stick. He hits Holisek, the linebacker. He sticks to him, and Levens gets the yards.
10 carries, 42 yards now for Levens. Favre throws for the end zone, fade, and it is touchdown to Tyrone Davis. Only the 2nd reception of the season for Davis.
Davis' second touchdown of the day. He recovered that fumble or whatever you want to call it off of Jackson on that punt.
And he's going to save the ball. Gave it to Brett Favre to take to the sideline.
Well, watch not only the throw and the perfect placement, watch the eyes, watch the feet, watch the control. 1, 2, that's some offense, folks.
And Longwell's extra point is good as the Packers extend their lead. 7:26 left till halftime now, 21-zip. Back in Green Bay, the Packers up 21-0 on the Buffalo Bills. Holds dives to the 26, and we'll go back to the touchdown catch by Tyrone Davis, a nice one.
Well, this is the difference in Brett Favre's game. You keep talking about the kill cannon, that great arm. He now can touch it. And Tyrone Davis, a young tight end, 1, 2, 6 points. And he knows that pass is coming. We talked about Brett Favre being an MVP this year, not only because he can gun it, because he can touch it, he can lead this football team. This right now, I think, is the best football player, all-around football player in the NFL.
He and his coach agreed, said his best season, especially in terms of leadership and controlling the game with audibles and all the intangibles.
Before the snap, there was a false start in the offense, number 79, 5 yards, first down.
Reuben Brown with a false start. There's Brett Favre, and you wonder how much longer he'll play. Mike Holmgren telling us that he wanted to get Steve Bono in the game. He didn't know exactly when. He would sort of feel it, and there's Bono, has not played this season. The durable Favre taking all the snaps, and Brett said he wants to play every play. That's just the kind of player he is, but very good friends with Steve Bono and with Doug Peterson, the third quarterback, and hope they would get some playing time today. Van Pelt fires to Moulds, complete in front of Tyrone Williams. And Alex Van Pelt actually has had some nice throws today.
He really has. He's had the good touch, but here's a guy right now. You look at the year Brett Favre has had. What more do you want out of a quarterback, especially when you're putting the big W's up? You know, there's a lot of quarterbacks in the history of this league have thrown for a lot of yards. This guy is throwing for a lot of yards on a record pace for touchdowns and yards, and he's winning.
Antoine Smith bounces it to the outside, stopped about a yard short of the first down by Brian Williams. We asked Mike Holmgren if he thought his quarterback should be MVP again, and he said, who else? Who else would you make quarterback? And he agreed with Brett's assessment that this indeed was his best season. No one has won it 3 consecutive times.
The best argument in the league, though, you're going to see tomorrow afternoon against the New York Jets. Barry Sanders of the Detroit Lions is wonderful. I think he's the best football player, the best running back that's played since this merger of the leagues in 1970. He is unbelievable.
And Favre flags her down. Antoine Smith would have the first down. Favre, as you saw in the graphic, would be the first 3-time winner. Offside against Green Bay, it'll be a Buffalo first down. And Brett Favre talking about those MVPs.
Offsides on the defense, number 90, 5 yards, first down.
Darius Holland, and said, well, the first one was great. They always say the first one is the best. He said, no, I like the second one even better, and said if I got a third, it would be the sweetest of all.
I tell you what, it's just like Pro Bowls. It's just like Super Bowls. If it's positive and it's great and it means a lot of money, more is better.
And he said, don't get me wrong, the Super Bowl is my primary goal. But I would like to have, yes, indeed, that third MVP. That's early in motion. Van Pelt pumps, delivers. It's hanging up there, and it is intercepted by Tyrone Williams. Tyrone Williams, one of the players that Mike Holmgren said has stepped up for his team, intercepts Van Pelt. Green Bay taking care of business in the second quarter, their final regular season game. Up 21. Dorsey Levens still at tailback, lugs it to the 35-yard line. Let's go back to the latest turnover.
Well, Williams, the cornerback, look at the space in this part of the defense. Once this thing starts moving, you see Quinn Early move up the field. Look at Williams, 37. Look at that space. That's what makes this such a bad decision by the quarterback, Van Pelt. You're going to try to sell a play action to a guy that's 7 yards off the ball? I don't think so.
Van Pelt intercepted today for the first time and for the season. Number 8. Favre somehow playing Matador, got away and completes the pass to Chmura. First down.
Tom, what a perfect example of what Brett Favre told us yesterday. He raises the ball, he raises his body, he raises his arm. He said, how do you do that? I mean, how do you know these people are coming? He goes, well, some I see, some I don't. He has to see Hansen. He can't see both those guys. He says, look, I can't explain why I do it and how I do it. You can't explain why Barry Sanders can run so well with the ball. But I can explain one thing. This crowd here is chanting MVP for Brett Favre, because that's what they think of their quarterback.
And you saw the big smile after the play. He is just enjoying himself, having fun. And is there anyone more fun to watch in the NFL than Brett Favre? Went over and checking on the injured Bill.
You know, Brett Favre is a guy that when you're an offensive lineman, you block because you know where you're supposed to be. Now you're on your own. Look at these are observers. These guys are saying, well, you know, Aaron Taylor and Ross Verba, you got Dorsey Levens and William Henderson backside. You know, buy a ticket, boys. You're going to watch me. Try to get open so I can find you.
We think the injured player is Dan Brandenburg. We're waiting for confirmation. And while they tend to him, we'll take a break. Green Bay in control. Welcome back to Green Bay. Not a bitterly cold day. 31 degrees at game time. And there is the injured player. It is Sean Moran being helped from the field.
It's one of the hazards of being a defensive player. You don't know what this guy's going to do or when he's going to stop. Hansen had no idea. There's Moran and the linebacker. They had no idea. Heck, Brett Favre has no idea. How could you know what he's going to do? Mark Chmura, basically his roommate on the road and best friend, saying, man, I don't know how he got me that ball, or for that reason, why he got me that ball.
Well, starting only one of his first 4, has been on a roll since then. 2 touchdown passes today, giving him 35 for the season.
This has not so far been that statement type game that Mike Holmgren wanted to set out there. This, by Green Bay Packers standard, is kind of the B game. This is when if you're playing golf, you're kind of chipping and making the putts and just sort of playing adequate to make your par. This is not a dominating performance, but now people look at this and say, gee, when they play bad, they're good.
Might be what Buffalo's saying about now. Levens is going full speed just a moment after receiving the ball. Bryce Popp stops him, a gain of about 5 yards. Don't forget, coming up after the game, it's the Ironman Triathlon, ultimate test of endurance. It involves swimming, biking, and then running a marathon, just coincidentally in the Hawaiian heat. So just finishing that grueling series of events is something. The stories who take on this challenge really are incredible. Ironman Triathlon coming up next here on NBC.
Yeah, I like watching that show because I think to myself, one of these years when I watch that, I'm going to figure out why you do that to your body.
That's the first thing I think, too, is why? I mean, yes, it's admirable and that they can do this, but why? Short drop, Favre to Brooks. First down, Green Bay, just short of the 40-yard line. Burris with another tackle. There's just no way to stop that if you're a corner. It just unfolds all so quickly with such precision.
And it's really an illustration, too, Tom, of how mature this quarterback has been. It's probably the best job that Mike Holmgren's done. You talk about the personnel, you can talk about the team, you can talk about molding this entire unit, but molding the young colt, the wild stallion, if you will, that throws to these young receivers, or these receivers, Brooks and Freeman and Brett Favre, that has been Mike Holmgren's best job and biggest testimony is what he's done with his young quarterback, Favre. He's made him an MVP.
Brooks now has 4 catches, 60 on the season. Play action fake, down the field into double coverage, and incomplete. Intended for Brooks. Thomas Smith, the one that finally dislodged the football.
You know, the Marinos, the Elways, the Favres, Anybody else throws a pass like this, and the first thing you say is, gee, what are you thinking? That's not very smart. But these guys throw these passes up because they know their receivers have so much faith in them, they'll go try to get it. Brooks almost pulls that off. He has it as he goes to the ground. Watch Farr. It's like there's a force field activated as soon as the ball leaves his hand and repels him 5 yards.
Farr pumps, goes the other way, pulls it down, has a man wide open again. Oh, the master of improvisation, Antonio Freeman on the receiving end from Brett Farr. Fifth catch for Freeman, and even he has to laugh about that one.
You heard that black 374 Thunder. That is a quick pass this way and 3 steps. 1, 2, 3. The real play's not there. Brett says, how about my play? You want another good picture of why these receivers never stop for the Packers? That's why they never stop. They know they got a quarterback that can get them the ball from the bench, much less the field. And look, Antonio Freeman's shaking his head. I can't believe it.
Poor Jeff Burris can only shake his head, too. Levens to the 20-yard line. Phil Hansen makes the tackle as we come to the 2-minute warning. 2 minutes left, first half. Holmgren and the Packers on their way. Well, the Lambeau leap is much in vogue here, but Randy Cross, you need some flubber to get up that high, I think.
I'll tell you what, I think they should still do it here, but there ought to be a weight limit. You have to be over 250 to do the Lambeau leap. You get a chance to get up in them stands and splatter people, because I remember last year when Paul McGuire was here, or earlier this year, he tried the Lambeau leap, but he tried the wrong side of the field. See, the green wall in the end zones is high, but you get that yellow rail along the side with a tarp next to it, you get an illegal jump and help. Paul could have made it there.
Second down play. Play action fake. Brett Farr lofts it for Brooks. Incomplete. I don't know if Thomas Smith was able to deflect it at the last second, but it goes incomplete.
And part of this offense, not only are you going to be looking at some quick stuff, you also have to take into consideration the fact that when he throws it to a spot, it is to a specific spot. And he's throwing this ball right now to the back of the C in Packers. Get to the back of the C, I'll get you the ball. There's the spot. There was the ball. It would have been a great catch, but talk about some accuracy.
Just off the fingertips of Brooks. Now it's third down. Farr rolls, sets up and delivers the screen to Henderson, blasting his way to the 4-yard line. There's a penalty marker on the play. Phil Hansen finally chased down William Henderson. But the penalty will bring it back illegally downfield.
Ineligible player downfield on the offense, number 73. 5-yard penalty. It remains third down.
Aaron Taylor. And stay with us at halftime. The Domino's Pizza NFL and NBC halftime report. Greg, Chris, Sam, and Joe have a preview of tomorrow's Jets-Lions game. That'll be great. Jets-Lions coming up tomorrow. The guys will preview it for you coming up at halftime.
You know, Will McDonough today in the pregame talked about the fact that Bobby Ross, the head coach of the Lions, says, I want no scores from earlier. I don't want my team to know what's gone on with Washington, what's gone on with Minnesota. I want their focus on the New York Jets.
Detroit can get in even without a win. Jets must win. Levens with another flag down is to the 9-yard line, tackled by Manny Martin.
That's going to be a hold. Remember what I said, this has not been that dominant performance by the Packers. You've seen penalties, you've seen turnovers. And that little color level, the red's starting to rise in Holmgren's face.
Holding on the offense, number 63, 10-yard penalty, remains third down.
Adam Timmerman plays right guard and has done a wonderful job the last 2 years. Look at Timmerman right here. Take a look at what he does. First move, second move, on the linebacker, on Perry right there. You know what got him there, though, guys? That was not a hold inside. You see his hands on the outside numbers of the linebacker? He might not even been grabbing him. If an official, an umpire sees the hands on the outside, they're out of the frame of the body. Every time they'll throw a flag.
Half dozen penalties apiece, more yardage, though, against the Bills. Favre's pass behind Freeman, who makes a pretty nice catch. Immediately, Jeff Burris, who's been a busy man today, gets credit for the tackle. And now Ryan Longwell will come out to attempt a field goal with 1:29 left till halftime. Longwell, another one of the players identified by Mike Holmgren as those who have stepped up with all the injuries they had early. Longwell has been a consistent performer. 23 of 28 field goals on the season. Buffalo's going to take a timeout. And they do with 1:03. So Longwell's field goal attempt will have to wait for a while.
Well, you talked about, Longwell being such a great plus. Remember, this is a team that drafted in the 3rd round Brett Conway, a kicker out of Penn State this year, who had all the pressure and problems earlier in the year. Tore a hamstring, pulled a hamstring muscle. They bring Longwell out, who used to be with the 49ers. He's available, bring him in. And all he's done is score all these points for this offense and been very accurate kicker.
Longwell's attempt will be of 45 yards. His long for the season is 50. Hold from Hendrick. Longwell's kick is no good. Longwell missed it from 45 yards. So the score remains 21-0. Christmas weekend on NBC. Get ready to...
It's a double dose of the Mighty Ducks.
Quack attack is back, Jack!
The Mighty Ducks, Friday at 8.
We really stink.
D2, The Mighty Ducks, Saturday at 8. Christmas weekend on NBC.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, Tom. If you've got kids, and I've got 3, especially my son Brendan, who's 7 years old, I got no choice. I know what'll be on. Those kids absolutely love those movies.
And what about It's a Wonderful Life? That's coming on tonight on NBC. 58 seconds and timeout taken on the field.
Green Bay, their second. A 30-second timeout.
Might have had 12 players on the field. To avoid the penalty, they take a timeout. And we'll take a break. Still 58 seconds left, first half.
This is it. This is the frozen time.
And welcome back to Green Bay, where an attempted screen pass to Derek Holmes falls apart and a flag down. Bills called for the interference.
Pass interference on the offense, number 84. 10-yard penalty, first down.
Lonnie Johnson.
The timing of that play just from the get-go was off. Anytime the timing gets off, defenders get on you, and most of the time receivers, when they're uncomfortable, have a tendency to push off a little bit. And that tells you right there what's happened with the penalties in yards. Van Pelt's thrown some nice passes, but the majority of his nice ones have been for naught.
Van Pelt chased from the pocket, hit hard, manages to stay upright and get out of bounds. Roy Butler put a pretty good lick on Alex Van Pelt. Didn't go down. Managed to scramble out of bounds. Let's go down to the field now where Jim Gray has a report for us. Jim?
All right, Tom. Well, Adam Timmerman was over here on the bench, and Mike Holmgren came over and asked him, hey, were you holding on that play? And Adam shook his head. He said, no, Coach, I never hold. I wasn't holding on that play. I never do. Holmgren just kind of laughed and walked away. Tom?
That's the standard mantra for the offensive lineman. I have one here next to me.
I don't care. I wasn't doing it. I don't care if you got pictures.
Van Pelt has molds. And Eric stopped at about the 33 by Evans and Williams, his second catch of the afternoon.
But I tell you, one of the reasons these offensive linemen nowadays wear these gloves, I've got crooked fingers all over my hands, and they got there from getting accidentally caught up in jerseys. And when you accidentally get caught up in a jersey like that and the guy moves, it tends to twist your knuckles. I never helped. I mean, and Adam didn't hold, and I'm sure, Aaron Taylor wasn't downfield.
The injury we saw earlier, as you look at Timmerman, to Sean Moran, the word is a sprained knee for Moran, the defensive player for the Bills, who left the game. His return is doubtful.
Now that looks like a group of offensive linemen, especially with this look right here.
Look at that mop he's got working. Next to him, Aaron Taylor's got a clean head. They kind of got about, it was a $3 haircut. He got $2 worth. They didn't finish the top.
Van Pelt on target to Johnson. Out of bounds at the 40-yard line. 29 seconds left. It'll bring up fourth down play. Bills have been in the go for it on fourth down mode since early on. This time they'll send Chris Moore out to punt it away. Sharper awaits the boot by Moore. Twice in this first half, Buffalo went for it on fourth and short and repulsed both times by the Packer defense. Moore hits that one high but short. Sharper says get away from it. He knows what happened to the Bills on the first series of the game when Green Bay got an easy touchdown, 31-yard punt. Well, I mentioned it a moment ago, and tonight on NBC, a holiday tradition. Can't see it anywhere but on NBC, the Christmas classic, It's a Wonderful Life. One time, one night only, plus a special tribute to Jimmy Stewart hosted by Garth Brooks. It's A Wonderful Life, tonight at 8, 7 Central, only on NBC. What would Christmas be without that Jimmy Stewart, Frank Capra directed classic? It looks like the Packers will just take a knee and end the first half. The first half that has seen the Packers not especially sharp, but Brett Favre at the top of his game, dominating the Buffalo Bills. It's 21-0 at halftime. Green Bay over Buffalo. Brett Favre all smiles. Stay tuned now for the Domino's Pizza NFL and NBC halftime report coming up after these messages from your local station.
This is the Domino's Pizza NFL on NBC Halftime Report, brought to you by Domino's Pizza. Domino's, delivering a million smiles a day.
Greg Gumbel back in New York, along with Chris Collinsworth, Sam Weiss, Joe Gibbs. The Green Bay Packers leading the Buffalo Bills by a score of 21-0. A couple of fingertip catches away from being about 35-0. Let's talk about the most significant game of this final weekend of the regular season, the New York Jets and the Detroit Lions. In the AFC, the Jets need a win to claim a wild card. With a loss, the Jets are out, and the Patriots and the Dolphins are in. In the NFC, Detroit guarantees itself a spot with a win or a loss by either Washington or Minnesota. With a preview, Dick Enberg and Phil Simms at the Silverdome.
Well, Greg, the excitement is real in the Wolverine state. They know what's at stake, and tomorrow the Silverdome will have 80,000 fans, and they'll be roaring for the Lions' playoff chances and roaring for the great running back, Barry Sanders. You've all heard about the 2,000 yards, and here are the specifics. He needs 131 yards tomorrow to become the third man ever to rush for 2,000 in the season. And interestingly, his best ever game in Detroit, 237. If he hits that number, he would pass Eric Dickerson by 1 yard for the greatest rushing season ever. Well, they've already practiced, and we've had a chance to talk with them. What are your feelings?
Well, a lot of feelings. You know, so excited to be a part of this, Dick. But I think Bobby Ross this morning, he said something that really caught my attention. He says, you got to realize every single team that we play against, their main focus is to stop Barry Sanders. That defense, that's all they think about, not the passing game. How are we going to stop Barry Sanders? This week, I had a chance to go to the New York Jets football practice, and you look out on the field, and what are they doing? They're running drills to try to stop Barry Sanders. Linebackers forming a line with a running back in the middle of them. He's going back and forth, and they're shuffling across the field because they want to make sure they stay in position, don't overcommit, to create that gap where Barry Sanders can get a big play. And the defensive backs doing the same thing. They're so important. They're tackling, making sure they do a good job of it so he doesn't, get one of those 80-yarders.
Well, Sanders is reluctant to talk about himself. He didn't want to talk about the big numbers. What does motivate him?
Well, he's so humble, it's really hard to believe somebody could be this good. But I think what drives Barry Sanders, he loves to come out and compete, to see how many yards he can get, help his team win, but also this week, going for 2,000. I think a lot of his drive is going, he wants to do it for the offensive linemen. They're taking such great pride in the fact that they're going to have a runner behind them that has a chance to gain 2,000 yards.
Well, we've mentioned the excitement throughout the Detroit area, the entire state of Michigan. It's infectious.
You want to talk about excitement? Think about this for excitement for tomorrow. Are you ready for this? The Jets need a win to get in the playoffs. Detroit may need a win to get in the playoffs. Barry Sanders will get 2,000 yards. If Jim Jim Kelly, thank you very much, Dick. If Jim Kelly can come back and play, there's no reason why I can't come back and play. What do you think?
You're in the spirit. 40 years ago, the Lions won their last championship, the Honolulu Blue and Silver. And back to you, Greg.
Paul McGuire looks like the world's largest Pez dispenser in that.
That's good.
The New York Jets, as if Barry Sanders isn't awesome enough. Barry Sanders is a large part, but just a part of a very potent Detroit offense.
Yeah, he really is. And when you start looking at the matchup of this game tomorrow, it absolutely has to come down to these two cornerbacks, Aaron Glenn and Otis Smith, going up against Herman Moore and Johnny Morton. The Jets catch a little break in that Herman Moore is really banged up, but they have to bring 8 guys up on the line of scrimmage, play man-to-man coverage in that secondary, and take their chances with the Lions throwing the football.
Think about this. You got 3 of the brightest minds, Parcells, Belichick, and Al Groh over there on defense. You're going to see a master game plan here. I don't think they're going to run a risk, though, Chris. I think they'll get 8 guys up there, but I think it's with zone. They know they're outmatched out there height and size-wise. I think you're going to see them crowd the line of scrimmage, but they'll be playing zone when they do it.
Yeah, they've got to... First, Bill Parcells will have to decide who his number 2 quarterback is going to be, whether it's Ray Lucas or whether it's Glenn Foley. I think it's going to be Glenn Foley. This is a you lose, you're out kind of a situation. And get the ball somebody on the other end. Either Wayne Corbett, who hadn't caught a pass in 2 games, or Keyshawn Johnson has to make a couple of big plays.
Last week it was man-to-man coverage. Just so we can finish our fight throughout the rest of the day. We'll see tomorrow.
Our busy day begins at noon Eastern Time with the NFL at NBC. We will hear from several NFL greats on what makes Barry Sanders so good. We'll bring you a side of Troy Aikman that few have seen, an interactive children's charity in conjunction with Steven Spielberg and General Norman Schwarzkopf, and Sam Weich's visit with Vikings quarterback Randall Cunningham. Minnesota hosts Indianapolis in our featured early game, while most of you will see the Jets and the Lions in the doubleheader game. Now, following our football post-game show today at 4 o'clock Eastern Time, we have a very special presentation, the Ironman Triathlon. It is must-see drama. Here's a quick preview. The Ironman Triathlon, the ultimate test of human endurance. A 2.4-mile ocean swim, a 112-mile bike trek, a full 26-mile, 385-yard marathon to the finish. But beyond those racing to be first, the stories of those seeking victories within themselves is what makes the Ironman so special. Julie Moss, 15 years ago, her tortured crawl to the finish brought international fame, but only second place. Now, after almost a decade away from competition, she returns to try again. Bob Jordan, an FBI agent from San Diego. He tried for 9 years to qualify for the Ironman field to no avail. Unknown to him, his 5-year-old daughter, Emily, stricken with leukemia, wrote to the organizers to invite him to compete. Sadly, just days after his acceptance, Emily died of her affliction. Now, Bob runs in Emily's memory in the biggest challenge of his life. The dramatic conclusion of their stories and those of 1,500 others coming up following football. The Ironman, Joe Gibbs, can you even imagine?
I've always been around the ball and stick sports and all that, and so when I see this, how do you take a human body and put them through this? I am fascinated by it. I love to watch, and it amazes me.
Well, what an incredible way, though, to honor the memory of your child and to run in one of these and to have her and her memory throughout the... Bob Jordan, how in the world? There's no way you could stop this guy in this competition.
Yeah, just remember, 4 o'clock Eastern Time coming up right after football. We'll be back to talk about the first half of the Packers and the Bills right after these messages from your local station. Well, this season marks the 25th anniversary of NFL Charities. NFL Charities was established so that NFL clubs could collectively make grants to national nonprofit organizations in the areas of education, youth football development, and physical fitness and sports-related medical research. This year, NFL Charities will award grants totaling more than $5.5 million to more than 150 nonprofit agencies. At halftime, the Packers lead Marv Levy's Bills by a score of 21-0. You think we've seen the last of Brett Favre for the day?
Brett Favre could be doing a shampoo commercial in the locker room right now. He's lathering. He's out of there. He's done.
And the other coaches are in there trying to pry Mike Holmgren's fingers apart where they've been crossed in that whole first half. I'll be shocked if Steve Bono's not the starter and plays the rest of the second half.
Well, you guys are joking, but I got to tell you, that was a serious moment, I think, for when Brett Favre got hit on his very first pass. And I think it was a test for Mike Holmgren. He stood the test. He said, hey, we're playing this game for real. And I got to tell you, if it had been me on the sidelines, I might have been second-guessing myself, but he stood tall and said we're going to leave him in there.
What it does look like is it looks like these Green Bay Packers are pretty much honing their game for the postseason.
And they've really solidified things on the defensive side, and I thought the key was after that Indianapolis fiasco where they gave up 41 points in that game. Since then, their pass defense has been incredible. This kid, Tyrone Williams, really making some plays. 21 straight quarters now without allowing a touchdown pass.
And, Sam, I know there are a lot of games between now and then, but is there any question the Packers are pointing to a finale in the NFC against the 49ers?
I think they're the best football team in football right now. They've been on the road 3 times, beat 3 good teams, come back home and look today. Joe, you want to change your vote on the MVP of the league
Joe.
right now?
Check with me tomorrow at halftime of that Jet-Detroit game. You might be changing yours on that side with Barry Sanders. I would say this, for the Bills, this is a real test in the second half. We used to really study the film in this situation when it's kind of pretty much a real adverse situation, lost cause. How hard do guys play in this situation?
All right, gentlemen, it is time for the second half of the Bills and the Packers. We send you back to Green Bay and rejoin Tom Hammond, Randy Cross, and Jim Gray, and we will see you on the postgame show.
All right, Greg, thank you very much. 21-0 as we get ready to start the third quarter. Tom Hammond and Randy Cross indeed back with you, and I'm sure that Marv Levy saying yesterday to us, everything about this team will be examined in the offseason. This second half could play an important role in deciding who stays on this Buffalo team and who doesn't.
Well, absolutely. We've seen an adequate performance, a great performance, I thought, by Brett Favre, adequate from the Packers. Buffalo Bills, Joe Gibbs brought up a great point, though. This is the time you examine who you want for next year. You see the penalties, you see the turnovers, and for the Buffalo Bills, now's the time to step up and try to show this coaching staff, show this organization you want to be involved in their plans for next year.
And the Coors Light halftime stats showing a domination by Green Bay. And as you said a couple of times, perhaps not the Packers' A game, except for Brett Favre. I thought he had an exceptional first half doing what he does best, and that is improvising, making plays.
Off the list, an MVP does stuff you can't game plan for. You can say, I'm going to stop this, and that. You don't game plan to stop the improvisational skills of Brett Favre or Barry Sanders.
Ryan Longwell's kickoff opens the second half. Eric Moulds trying to dodge a tackler, can't do it at the 21-yard line. Let's go down to the field and get a report from Jim Gray. Jim?
All right, thank you very much, Tom. I spoke to Mike Holmgren. That's it for Brett Favre. He will not play for the rest of the day. He said he feels his team is playing very hard. There will be some sprinkling of some new players here in the second half. Most of the regulars, he said, however, will continue. He feels the team is playing hard. Mike Holmgren said one other very interesting thing at halftime, that he was told by referee Mike Carey that Steve Tasker bumped into an official, and that's why he was thrown out of the game. Tom?
All right, Jim, if you just joined us, Steve Tasker, playing in his final game, was ejected on a bizarre play, a Green Bay punt that hit one of Tasker's teammates and was ruled a Green Bay touchdown, recovered in the end zone. As Van Pelt fires complete to Moulds for a Buffalo first down. And again, that play drew a vehement protest from Tasker, took off his helmet and apparently bumped an official, and a disappointing end to a brilliant career for Steve Tasker as he was ejected from his final career game.
Well, that's the low light so far, really, for the Bills. But I think really one of the real highlights is they've seen a quarterback in Alex Van Pelt for this football team run this offense pretty well. A lot of penalties, but a lot of good passes out of this quarterback out of Pittsburgh.
Herman Thomas. Van Pelt has made some nice throws, though he had a poor decision and a poor throw on one interception. And they didn't get much done as a team, but Van Pelt showing a little bit of spark anyway. And again, this is a decision time for Buffalo as they start already thinking about next season. Marv Levy says he will be back. He will be 73 years old next season. He says when he does decide to leave, it'll be very short-term notice. There's a false start as Lonnie Johnson came charging across.
False start on the offense, number 84. 5-yard penalty to remain second down.
Buffalo playing without Andre Reed today, their top receiver who is injured. And the Packers without Don Beebe.
Sorry, Tom. I talked about how Marv Levy's offensive line always used to be the strength of this team. You know, look at this group. You've got a good, solid offensive line. Guys like Hull and Ballard. John Fina was young then. John Fina's the only guy from the old group. Reuben Brown's going to the Pro Bowl. He's played pretty solid. But this group has been the key to the Eagles early. They played well lately. But early, it was what threw this offense completely off.
Van Pelt to Riemersma, twisted out of bounds, close to a first down. And another nice throw from Van Pelt.
And that offensive line for Buffalo is still facing a pretty formidable group. I think if, you know, I point at one guy on the Buffalo defense this year that's really stood out. You know, Gilbert Brown's been hurt with ankles and knees and whatnot. Reggie White's been slowed by a back and a few other injuries. But Santana Dotson for the Green Bay defense has been the guy that you got to say gets all the attention right now when you're looking for somebody that has made a huge difference.
Riemersma again from Van Pelt. Leroy Butler tackles him after a gain of about 7 yards. Riemersma, the former Michigan Wolverine.
I mentioned Reggie White a little while ago. Let's check and see how he's doing on that side, working against Jerry Ostrowski. The man who's played about every possible position. And how many times in the Super Bowl last year did you see him give him that big grunt and lift to Max Lane, who was playing that right tackle for New England?
Thurman Thomas hit immediately, got the handoff, and then Bob Kaburski just stopped him in his tracks.
Kaburski, a mere twig of a man at 295 pounds.
Well, compared to Gilbert Brown.
Well, yeah, he's playing for the coffee table. Gilbert Brown is not in there right now. Gilbert Brown, another one of those guys that, you know, goes in there at Ted Washington type weight of how much do you weigh? Happy holidays. Watch Kaburski right there working against Dusty Ziegler, the center. Does a nice job of hit and shed. And this defense across the board is not gigantic without Gilbert Brown, but they are physical.
Thurman took a tough hit. It's 3rd and 3. Antoine Smith has replaced Thurman Thomas. Bad throw, nearly intercepted, intended for Antoine Smith. Ryan Williams had a chance to intercept that one as Van Pelt every now and then throws in a clinker. That was one.
You know, I mentioned a little while ago about a guy, Santana Dotson, signed as a free agent from Tampa Bay. Watch Santana Dotson at the lower defensive tackle position going against Corbin Lucina, the right guard. Look at the push he gets. He's the one that disrupts this play. When you put an offensive guard back into the quarterback's lap, that ball will not be accurate.
Chris Moore to punt on 4th down with Sharper and Pryor. Twin deep men. Fair catch called for by Sharper. Takes it at about the 12-yard line. 36-yard punt. Bills give it up on their first possession of the second half, trailing by 21.
The NFL on NBC is brought to you by Dr. Pepper and your local Dr. Pepper bottler. Dr. Pepper, this is the taste. By the new Dodge, it's about change. By Visa, the official card of the NFL. It's everywhere you want to be. And by new Speed Stick Ultimate, antibacterial odor protection. Kills odor, protects guys.
Cooking up something special with Steve Mono at quarterback now.
What's called Cholesterol is Us.
Here's Dorsey Levens. Levens still chasing the Jim Taylor all-time Green Bay single-season rushing record. That run draws a flag as Sam Rogers made the play for the defense. Face mask against Buffalo.
Face mask on the defense, number 59. 5 yards only. First down.
Sam Rogers just trying to get something with that right hand and right fingers. That early little tug. That's why it's a 5-yard face mask. It's just that one little early tug. That's going to get you the flag. But if you grab that running back and pull him down, then you're going to get the penalty. And you see Dorsey Levens pull within 51 yards of tying and 52 of breaking Jim Taylor's record.
And so he is still in there, although Mike Holmgren said he discussed it with Dorsey and said that he wouldn't risk an injury just for the record, but Dorsey is still in there. Here's Bono's first pass of the season. Not a good one. It looked like they were trying to set up a middle screen, maybe to William Henderson, and it went awry. Bryce Pop made the play for Buffalo, too. As Brett Favre is through for the day, he's going to head home to Kiel, Mississippi for some golf and some hunting over the Christmas holiday. They'll have a couple of days off, be back Friday.
They'll take the Favre family jet. Between the endorsements this guy does and his contract, I'm guessing he's not flying a prop job.
Well, he had a jet performance first half. Some improbable plays, 2 touchdown passes in the first half of play.
Levens will lose a yard on that handoff as his pursuit of Taylor continues. So Bono a minute ago, the first pass of the season by someone other than Brett Favre. Bono played in one game, but that was his first pass. There are his career numbers: 2 years in Minnesota, 2 in Pittsburgh, 5 in San Francisco, and 3 in Kansas City. In fact, 2 years with the Chiefs as the starter. Went to the Pro Bowl in '95 as he led the Chiefs to the best regular season record. Well-versed in the West Coast offense. Had some painful times, though, as he was under intense criticism in Kansas City last season. So the most difficult time of his career, even in his days as a backup. Here's Henderson. Henderson on the little short pass from Bono has a Green Bay first down. Finally tracked down by Henry Jones after a gain of 14.
And this offense here, you know, when he's in the game, Steve Bono, this is what you refer to as the West Coast offense. Because there is just that little bit of flicking and a little bit of flapping and just a little bit of everything in this offense. You're missing the improvisational bullet and cannon arm of a Brett Favre. What you're going to see making up for it is accuracy and savvy and knowledge in the offense that Steve Bono brings.
Levens. He had about 8 on to his total. Henry Jones stops him. Now less than 50 needed to set the Green Bay record. The mark, as you saw, set by Jim Taylor in 1962.
And part of this, too, I think, of Mike Holmgren's thinking with Dorsey Levens and pounding this ball is, if you'll think back to last year, when Green Bay made that run late in the season and through the playoffs, what was the difference? Brett Favre played well, but the difference was the running game, the ability to pound people, eat up the clock, and set up the play-action pass because of the great runs.
Here's Levens again, tries to put a move on, but he can't shake Henry Jones. And Bill Henson was coming up too, so that'll cost him a few yards. You know, interesting story with Dorsey Levens. He grew up in Syracuse, but he passed on going to play for the Orangemen to leave home. Wanted to get out on his own and sort of prove himself, so he headed to South Bend. Spent 2 years at Notre Dame. He says it was a miserable experience. He said, that's for some people, it was not for me. So he went shopping around for a college, and after 2 years at Notre Dame, transferred to Georgia Tech, where he found a home, was an all-ACC player there. And at Georgia Tech is where he really blossomed. A former New York High School Player of the Year, Nottingham High School in Syracuse. Bono threw it in traffic and completed it. Flags are flying as Chmura made the catch. Irvin was wrapped all over him.
Yeah, that flag came from the deep middle. Like I said, the official back there is going to call holding on a tight end or holding on a defensive guy holding a tight end. Or a tight end for pushing off.
A little offensive interference.
Pass interference on the offense. Number 89, 10 yards, remains third down.
Just a little bit of a left arm push, but when you're a 35, 40-pound tight end and you push a 185-pound defensive back, they tend to move a little bit.
I don't know. That wasn't much of a push.
Yeah, Chmura just gave him that left arm, and that's all that official sees from that deep middle, that left arm pushing away, the separation happened, and to him, that looks like a push-off. It's not quite a, Michael Irvin, right. Jerry Rice class push-off.
Michael Irvin wouldn't even claim that one. 3rd and 14. Bruce Smith bearing down on Bono, and the catch juggled by Chmura. Got it. It'll be ruled a reception. Ken Irvin defending the big tight end over on the sideline.
Another thing about Dorsey Levens, I love when we talked to him yesterday. He said, hey, is your family going to be there tomorrow? He says, no, mid-October, November, they stopped coming over here. It's too cold. I said, all right, fine. Then suddenly it occurred to me, I said, you grew up in Syracuse. How can people in Syracuse complain that Green Bay might be too cold? Lake effects, snow, everything else.
His parents, Herb and Pat, only come in the warm weather months, if at all possible. Hendricks punt to Burris. Burris still on his feet. Nice return. Finally caught from behind by Travis Jervey. It was a 31-yard return. 7:10 left in the third. Buffalo takes over at its own 46-yard line. Alex Van Pelt
But a completion to Quinn Early. And Early will have a Buffalo first down, stopped by Bernardo Harris. His third catch went for 15 yards.
There's Ross Verba, the rookie offensive tackle out of Iowa. We told you at the beginning of the game, the matchup with he and Bruce Smith. What are we getting out of this young guy? I think so far you're seeing short sets. You're seeing the Packers game plan around Bruce Smith being a factor. And you're seeing this young guy do a pretty doggone good job. And this is the guy that grew up tough, though, Tom.
Bruce Smith, no tackles in the first half. Van Pelt, a short completion to Holmes. And you're right, Verba did grow up tough. In Des Moines, Iowa, they had a big backyard with hall grass growing in it. So Verba went out with the push mower, mowed down that grass field, chalked it, and said, let's play some football. And he got his dad out there. They put the pads on, and it was rough. Verba said a couple of times his dad broke his nose, but he said, keep bringing it to me. He said by about the time he was 10 years old, things started to even up a little bit.
There's a few connections that don't quite meet the contacts in that head. If he was thinking of getting smacked around at 8 years old on a football field, he mowed himself.
Van Pelt intended for Holmes, who made a diving attempt, covered by the linebacker George Kuntz. Galloway was in the area too.
You know, you're 8 years old. How many of you out there have 8-year-olds? One, how many are going to go out and grab a mower and mow anything by themselves, much less a half a football field, and then line it, then put on a pair of pads and tell a dad who's obviously a little bit bigger than you, saying, I want you. Come on, get some of this.
But it prepared him to meet one of the masters, Bruce Smith, who has nothing but goose eggs to show for the first half plus here in Green Bay.
Remember the performance Baselli put on him last week when Jacksonville came up to Buffalo. About the same kind of deal.
Intercepted. Van Pelt threw it right to Mike Pryor. And Pryor still on his way down the sideline. Van Pelt bumps him out of bounds. The veteran Mike Pryor in his 12th season gets his 4th pick of the season and number 34 in his career. Van Pelt threw it right to him and then had to make the tackle after a 50-yard interception return with even Reggie White out there leading interference.
We talked about the one interception earlier that Tyrone Williams had. It was on a bad decision. But, you know, when a quarterback throws a pass, it's supposed to get the receiver in stride. Watch this pass out of Van Pelt, and who's it hit in stride? Mike Pryor coming from that deep safety position, never breaks stride, hits him perfectly, but look at what Van Pelt does right there. That's a hit. I mean, for a quarterback, that is flat laying it out.
Looks like a false start by Earl Dotson.
False start on the offense, number 72, 5 yards, first down.
You know, Van Pelt, after that last interception, he knows what's going on. He knows he has to get back and taking a little frustrations out and kind of acting what you'd expect out of Brett Favre, giving up the body to try to knock that guy out of bounds.
Van Pelt being saved by Green Bay from having to see the movie Titanic this weekend. He said he'd been on enough sinking ships this weekend, thank you.
I knew there was something in there yelling to get out.
Levens, only a yard. Ted Washington wrapped him up.
Yeah, and when Ted Washington wraps you, you stayed wrapped up. This guy, don't be fooled. As he said last night to us, don't be fooled by the fat. I saw him make a play a couple weeks ago. Might be one of the better defensive plays I've seen any lineman make here in '97. He just flat ran down the line and ran a running back on a little swing pass down. And, you know, Ted's had the sacks. He's had the pressures. He's 360-ish, and he can bring it. It's a lot of it, but he'll bring it.
He said, just because I'm fat, they think I can't run. He's going to run all the way to Honolulu to the Pro Bowl. Bono to Henderson, smacked down immediately by Sam Rogers. Well, as the regular season wraps up, the postseason kicks off today on SuperBowl.com as NBC teams up with the NFL and IBM to produce the game's official website. Get a sneak peek at our plans for San Diego, as well as complete playoff analysis. Plus, try out our game arcade. Shop for Super Bowl merchandise and win a trip for two in the IBM Drive to the Super Bowl sweepstakes. All on the internet at SuperBowl.com. Bono with a third down play. It's a swing pass complete to Levens. Levin stopped well short of the first down by Marlo Perry. It'll bring up 4th down and a Longwell field goal attempt.
And the only reason this is going to be a field goal attempt was Marlo Perry made a wonderful play right there, because Dorsey Levens had people out in front of him, and there was no other defender within 10 or 12 yards. Marlo Perry fights off the blocker and makes that tackle on a one-on-one situation.
Longwell missed from 45 yards already in the game. This one is 35. And this one is good. Longwell with the first points of the second half. You're watching the NFL on NBC.
The NFL on NBC is brought to you by Dr. Pepper and your local Dr. Pepper bottler. Dr. Pepper, this is the taste.
Welcome back to Lambeau Field in Green Bay. Tom Hammond, Randy Cross, and Jim Gray. It has been a Green Bay rout, 24-0, after the first bizarre sequence of the game in which the Buffalo special teams had a lapse again. Here's Derek Holmes from the goal line. That first series of the game saw the Packers punt, but a muff punt by the Bills and a touchdown for the Packers. It's been downhill since then. Sure, and join us for that Jets-Lions game tomorrow. Another big one, Indianapolis and Minnesota. Some good games, playoff implications. Alex Van Pelt to Jerry Reese, who makes the reception. Reese just activated with the injury to Andre Reed. It covered 15 yards and a Buffalo first down.
Yeah, Reese has been with the team this year on another occasion, was brought back Monday, re-signed to the practice squad, and Marv Levy had to activate him.
And Andre Reed on the bench. Eric Moles has a groin injury. He won't return, so we'll be seeing more of Jerry Reese as Antoine Smith gets the call. Stopped by Paul Fraze.
Andre Reed last week, that game against Jacksonville, separated his shoulder and was placed on injured reserve this year. And it's been a very frustrating year, obviously, for Andre Reed going through the things that this football team has gone through.
And again, Marv Levy saying everything will be examined, including the likelihood of bringing in a veteran free agent quarterback. Van Pelt making a bid for a spot on the roster as he hits Lonnie Johnson. Hit hard by Brian Williams.
There's a lot of things you expect out of a linebacker. You expect him to be a mean guy. You expect linebackers these days to be fast and active, and Brian Williams showed you that. But he says in a recent article I read about him that one of his first priorities was make sure he got a dish here in Green Bay so he could get Cartoon Network. A linebacker, Cartoon Network?
Van Pelt's pass intended for Reese, too high and incomplete. And on 4th down, the punt team will return. If you're wondering, the last time that the Packers pitched a shutout, December 26, 1993, when they blanked the Raiders 28-0. And their defense is closing in now on 22 straight quarters without allowing a touchdown pass. 5th punt of the day for Chris Moore. With the block of the punt, it goes out of bounds, and Green Bay will take over. Chris Moore blocked for the first time this season. The wily Seth Joyner does the job. 1:45 left, third quarter, 24-0. Packers over the Bills. Chris Moore, Buffalo punters, just had a punt block for the first time in his career. First time in his career Moore has had one blocked as the Bills special teams continue to put up terrible play. Dorsey Levens, there's a flag down, and Levens is out of bounds. Set out by Marlo Perry.
And that'll be a hold against the Green Bay Packers.
Holding on the offense, number 78. 10 yards, remain first down.
Our man Ross Verba
They're working on his man, Bruce Smith.
The last time the Bills had a blocked punt, by the way, was way back in 1989. So a rare occurrence, but the special teams have just been terrible, which is really odd because Marv Levy puts such a premium on good special teams play. He was a special teams coach earlier in his career, and all season long it has been a sore spot for the Buffalo Bills. Levens, maybe a yard. Bryce Pop hit him. And Bryce Pop, if we talked about Verba, the Iowan, Bryce Pop is another one from Iowa. We mentioned earlier Scranton, Iowa, population 575, graduated from high school with 19 in his class. Scranton Consolidated High School. And they had 12 men on the football team. Bryce played quarterback, punter, whatever they needed. From the shotgun formation, he was a quarterback. And if they got ahead of another team, he usually changed his jersey number 45 to 55 to play guard so they could run behind him.
Well, they're 19 in his graduating class is consolidated. What if they weren't consolidated?
Bono is sacked. Buffalo's first sack.
Ball's live.
Ball's free, and Buffalo has it. Picked up by Marcellus Wiley, rambling toward the end zone and down at the 5-yard line by Aaron Taylor. Wiley needs to work on the dance, but then he hasn't had many opportunities. Former 1AA All-American, the rookie from Columbia.
Hey, Marv Levy-sized defense played good, aggressive defense and some sloppy offense right here. You look at Holisek, the linebacker, come through clean. Bad ball maintenance by Bono. The ball just pops right out of there as it's stripped by Holisek. Speaking of bad ball maintenance, now here's something great. You know you got linemen involved. When you got a guard, Aaron Taylor has got the angle. You don't get to talk about linemen too often that have angles.
So at the 5-yard line, and Marcellus Wiley taking it there, and the shutout in jeopardy. And the fans got something to get excited about. Antoine Smith for the touchdown. Nice cutback by the rookie Antoine Smith. 6-yard TD run by Smith. Leads the ball into the stands as Bono's fumble leads to the first Buffalo score.
Remember earlier I talked about hit and stick being such a great thing by the Green Bay Packers? Well, hit and stick is the reason this is a successful play. You got a center and Dusty Ziegler getting all the way downfield near the end zone, getting that block. The final one to get Antoine Smith in there, but that was a lot about sticking on blocks and a patient run by Antoine Smith as the Bills go for 2.
In trouble, throws it complete to Remersma for the 2-point conversion. So the Buffalo Bills, thanks to the turnover, finally dent the end zone. It's 24-8 Green Bay. Steve Bono getting the playing time as Brett Favre called it quits after the first half, and Mike Holmgren wanting to send a statement to the opponents in the playoffs, the first of whom will be coming here to Lambeau Field. And is he making that statement or not?
I don't think. Brett Favre played at his level. But this has been a sloppy performance with penalties and turnovers. Each team's made 3 turnovers. Green Bay's just had their 3rd. Marcellus Wiley brings it back down near the goal line. They punch it in. They get 8 points. And you notice not much of a smile on Holmgren's face. Not wearing the headsets anymore, but that's so he can roam around and talk to some people.
Players wish he had him back on then, huh?
Yep.
This is Hayden who takes Christie's kick. Aaron Hayden to about the 28-yard line where Brandenburg puts the hit on him. Just 13 seconds left in the 3rd quarter.
Yeah, what makes us a little bit of concern to Mike Holmgren is, remember, he does have some substitutions coming in here as far as people like Steve Bono. He wants to get Aaron Hayden some running time. This is his regular running backs. This is his regular offensive line. And they have not looked sharp in the last couple of possessions. He's seen an offense that's really sort of sputtered, been victimized by the blitz and stunts, and he is not happy and cannot be happy about what they've done right now.
247 total yards for the Green Bay offense today. Dorsey Levens
jumping, pouncing through a hole, crosses the 30 to the 32-yard line. Marcellus Wiley makes the tackle. Third quarter comes to a close. It's 24-8. We'll be back in Green Bay after these messages from your local station. Buffalo Bills won the third quarter 8-3, but they are 24-8 on the losing end as we start the fourth final regular season game for these two teams. Green Bay heading on to the playoffs. Dorsey Levens hit hard at the sideline as he continues in quest of Jim Taylor's all-time single-season rushing record.
You know, Dorsey Levens has done his yards so far today in workmanlike fashion. That is the one big hit he's gotten running the ball so far. The majority of his runs have been inside against a Buffalo defense that can be very hard to run against with guys like Ted Washington inside.
Dorsey now with 21 carries, 72 yards, and 39 short of Taylor's team record. Bono rolls, pops once, and overshoots Mickens. Incomplete. He was defended by Thomas Smith.
You've seen a great example, too. You know, people talk about, gee, if you get a new team, why don't you run this West Coast kind of offense? Well, you know, it's pretty obvious you need the right kind of a guy to be the star spark. I played with a guy in Joe Montana who was a star spark in this offense. Brett Favre is a star spark. Steve Bono knows this offense inside and out. And sometimes, it doesn't matter how well you know it, you cannot execute it like the guy that has a little special tool.
Hendricks punt, chases Burris all the way back to the 14. And he'll just jump out of bounds. Or maybe Bono showing a little rustiness, too, playing for the first time this season. 51-yard punt. We'll be back.
Starts Thursday, December 25th. The NFL on NBC is brought to you by Chevrolet Trucks, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road. By Dean Witter, there are many ways to measure success. We measure it one investor at a time. And by Duracell, when it better work, better make it Duracell.
Cheeseheads in a holiday mood as they come to Lambeau for the final regular season game and set their sights on the playoffs. Looks like they'll have their 23rd straight win at home. Van Pelt completes it to Antoine Smith. Wrapped up and the play stopped. Brian Williams had it. Great day of football coming your way on NBC tomorrow. All those playoff implications and a lot of other things too. It starts with the NFL on NBC. That's at noon Eastern Time. Then in game one, most of you see the Colts take on the Vikings. Vikings need a win to get to the playoffs, and then most of you will see Bill Parcells and the Jets against Barry Sanders and the Lions in game two. Again, with playoff implications abounding.
Well, I'm going to be in Minneapolis tomorrow for that game, Tom, and you couldn't ask for a worse opponent to come in when you absolutely have to win a game. And I don't care what the formulas say. If you have a chance, you've got to win the game. And the Colts right now for the Minnesota Vikings are the team you don't want to come in there. The way they're playing, the Colts played the Green Bay Packers 4 or 5 weeks ago and just lit this defense up. And it's the last time anybody's lit this defense up.
Minnesota headed in one direction and Indianapolis in the other. That pass nearly intercepted by Tyrone Williams, intended for Jerry Reese. It'll bring up fourth down. And, of course, in the Jets-Lions game, the subplot is Barry Sanders trying to become the third running back in NFL history to reach 2,000 yards rushing. The Jets, if they win, are in. The Lions, if they win, are in. They could possibly get in with some other circumstances if they win, if either Washington or Minnesota loses.
Boy, coaches hate formulas. Coaches hate formulas. You don't win about... That's why Bobby Ross has said, I'm not going to let any early game score go up on the board. That game starts at 4 Eastern. He's not going to let anything go up early, just not to distract his players.
Here's Moore's punt. Sharper has to race up to field it. Only got a couple of yards on the return after the punt covered. 32. Tackled by Marlo Perry. We'll take a break in Green Bay.
The The NFL on NBC is brought to you by Domino's Pizza, delivering 1 million smiles a day. Call for pizza now and share a smile during the game.
For only the second time in a decade, the Buffalo Bills will be heading home for the holidays, and we didn't find a single player that thought that was a good idea, though they do appreciate being with their families. They would rather be preparing for the playoffs, as this proud team has over so many recent seasons. Dorsey Levens got a block from Henderson, but the Bills defense already had penetration in the form of Henry Jones. And Levens still finds the going tough, no gain.
We saw Marcellus Wiley recover that fumble on the last series. He's in for Bruce Smith, and we talked a lot about that matchup between Bruce Smith and Ross Burba, the rookie out of Iowa, and how it would affect the Green Bay offense. And the veteran Smith is out of the game now. Didn't notice a tackle by Bruce Smith. Obviously did not have a sack. A good performance by young Burba, aided by, I think, a very good game plan to keep Brett Favre away from Bruce Smith.
Steve Bono, chased from the pocket by Ted Washington, throws it away.
There's an example, Tom. Steve Bono wasn't fooled by the fat. He saw Ted Washington coming at him.
Run, huh?
Well, he had a pretty good idea of how fast that body was moving at him.
I was just thinking, Randy, that we'd be remiss in a Green Bay Buffalo matchup, but we didn't mention Elijah Pitts, the Buffalo assistant coach who had so many great years in a Green Bay uniform as a player. Now battling cancer, was able to come out to the Buffalo practice last week, I think, and all our best wishes at this holiday time for one of the great guys, Elijah Pitts. Bono, sideline over the head of Mark Chmura.
That's another example, Tom, of having to have that playing time to be able to throw that touch pass. And you talked about him being a little bit rusty. There's so many instances in this type of an offense. You're dropping the ball in behind linebackers in front of defensive backs. And practice speed and game speed, no matter how hard coaches tend to kick players in the rear end, is never the same. You got to do it when it's live on the field in the game, or it shows.
High snap. Hentrick pulls it down and boots it away. Jeff Burris will watch it sail into the end zone for the touchback. 54-yard punt, but only 34 on the net. You're watching the NFL on NBC.
Welcome back to Lambeau Field. I'm Jim Graham, now joined by Ron Wolf, the general manager of the Packers. Ron, as you embark now on the playoffs, and you've seen your team the entire season, how much more difficult do you think it is to repeat as opposed to capturing the first round?
Well, I think it's going to be it's very difficult, evidenced by what we've seen so far this year. People are playing us a lot differently. They seem a lot more intent upon making a point, playing the world's champions. So I can understand now what some of these other teams have gone through.
6 different starters plus Desmond Howard. How difficult is it to mold a team having lost that many players just over the course of 1 year and then defend your championship?
Well, Jim, we have such an excellent coaching staff to begin with, plus ideal veteran leadership. And that hasn't been that big of a problem for us, really and truly. Now, we've missed the outstanding stellar play of some of those individuals, but as a unit, we're not doing too badly.
If this score holds up, you'll finish 13-3, just like last year. How do you compare these two teams?
Well, I think this is a team right now, the team this year, that's the only one I'm concerned about, is on an upward move. And I would say that we're probably a little bit more explosive last year than we are this year. Have a little bit better depth this year than we did last year.
Final question. Was this Brett Favre's best year, and do you feel he should win the MVP again?
I think certainly he's the most valuable player in the league, and I think he demonstrates that every Sunday he plays.
Ron, good luck in the playoffs. We'll look forward to seeing you.
Thank you very much. Hey, Bill Parcells, let's go over there, okay?
A little plug. I'm sure that the Bobby Ross fans will have their say, too. Randy and Tom?
All right, Jim, and to paraphrase Rudyard Kipling, the strength of the pack is in the wolf. In Green Bay's case, Ron Wolf has done an excellent job compiling a championship team. As you look at the numbers and repeating what both Brett Favre and Mike Holmgren told us, they thought this team was even with last year's Super Bowl champion team, except perhaps in the return game.
I think defensively they're faster with these young linebackers. I think actually the running game is more explosive with Dorsey Levens at halfback than it was with Edgar Bennett.
Van Pelt intended for early, streaking down the sideline. Mark Collins a moment ago, while we were hearing from Ron Wolf, was called for the interference. And it's come up to third down now for Buffalo and Van Pelt with just over 12 minutes left in the game, and the Packers up 24-8.
Yeah, had to love the little plug that Ron Wolf gave to his buddy Bill Parcells about that game you'll see tomorrow. Detroit and the Jets, and I'm sure Ron Wolf got off him a few pointers about how to stop a Barry Sanders.
Van Pelt hit as he released the football intended for Jerry Reese, and Collins broke it up.
I can give him a real pointer on how to stop Barry Sanders, too. It's easy. It really is. Make sure he doesn't suit up. If he doesn't suit up, you're fine. He puts that uniform on. I don't care what kind of defense you put out there against that guy. You watch the game tomorrow. I guarantee you tomorrow, early on, if Barry gets a Barry start, he'll have 10 carries for 12 yards. 5 minutes later, he'll have 15 carries for 136 yards. He can explode quicker than any other back I've ever seen.
Explode on an individual run, explode in the game as Moore with a fake punt hits Lonnie Johnson. Blindsided, ball is free. Lonnie Johnson was looking around and Sharper leveled him, and the ball came free. I mean, Sharper absolutely destroyed Lonnie Johnson, who is still down on the turf.
Lonnie Johnson knew where 10 guys were on that punt return team for the Green Bay Packers, and he didn't take into consideration the defensive back there playing returner in Sharper. And that was a receiver, a runner at his most unprotected you'll ever see. Completely unaware of the contact.
Flag down, and it came in late. Travis Jerby came out with the football, but whether Green Bay will have it officially, we don't know yet.
Buffalo recovered at the spot. However, the fourth down fumble rule requires that we put the ball at the spot of the fumble. After the fumble recovery, there was an unsportsmanlike on the receiving team, 15 yards, half the distance to the goal, automatic, first down.
Well, I'm glad he was able to sort it out. Maybe we can if we take another look. Lonnie Johnson up to a sitting position.
Well, you know, watch what Moore does when he gets the ball to Lonnie Johnson, but more importantly, watch Lonnie Johnson as he runs down the field. Unprotected, not looking, not expecting, losing track of Sharper. Sharper with a very good, clean hit right on the football. The ball pops out. The Bills get the football, and the penalty was called after this dog pile was formed. But look at that. I mean, Lonnie Johnson is looking for a blocker, looking for tacklers, and forgets all about the young man out of William and Mary, Sharper, who today has brought a lot of plus in the return game for the Packers, and right here does a textbook job of a hit the NFL has to love. An unprotected football player, the shot nowhere near the head, perfectly legal, perfectly clean, knocking the ball out of Johnson's hands.
Sharper, whose brother Jamie is a rookie linebacker with the Ravens. They talk a couple of times a week, have a long rivalry going back to all those brotherly fights as youths. Then William and Mary in Virginia.
That shows you the violence of that type of a hit, but I have to emphasize, totally clean hit by Sharper.
Sharper saying he was going to remind his brother as he went home to Richmond, Virginia for Christmas that he had to return to play some more football. Van Pelt's pass incomplete. And the report from the bench that Lonnie Johnson just had the wind knocked out of him. That's good news. No permanent damage. Lonnie Johnson next time will look upfield.
That was something else. It's very unusual to see any football player, especially a receiver type, completely lose track of a body on the field, especially one that's right dead straight downfield from him.
Van Pelt flag down in the end zone on Sharper. Darren Sharper called for the interference that time, defending Quinn Early.
That's a young man caught on the horns of a dilemma. Doesn't know if he wants to break it up or just flat just try to go through the receiver. And he chooses through the receiver here on Quinn Early. Doesn't know quite where to go.
Pass interference on the defense, number 28. The foul happened in the end zone. The ball was placed at the 1-yard line. Automatic. First down.
That's a good call. In order to get to the ball, he had to go through Early. He could not squirm his body around quite enough to avoid the contact. They had the wrong number, but it was definitely Sharper going through Early's shoulder to get that ball.
Want to keep that touchdown pass string alive. Now 22 quarters without one. Dozen penalties against the Packers today. Antoine Smith, touchdown. Buffalo taking advantage of the fake punt, recovering the fumble, getting the penalty, and now the score.
Watch the football. Don't watch the contact. Watch where the football is in relation to that imaginary goal line. It just has to break it. Doesn't have to get into the end zone. Has to break that line, and it obviously did.
Second touchdown of the day for Antoine Smith, and 8 on the season. They'll go for 2. Intercepted by Brian Williams.
This play is dead. This play is dead and being whistled dead by Carey.
It's not college. So the score remains 24-14 Green Bay. Back in Green Bay, where suddenly it's a 10-point game with still over 11 minutes left. Schrader hit at the 22-yard line. And let's take a look at our Miller Time game summary. Favre played only the first half. Had a good game. Dorsey Levens still 40 yards short of that Green Bay rushing record. The unexpected 12 penalties and 2 turnovers by Green Bay, not sharp today, with the exception of Favre. And another unexpected, I think, would be the fact that Steve Tasker, in his final game, ejected in the first couple of minutes of the contest. Aaron Hayden now comes in at the tailback spot, replacing Dorsey Levens, who apparently will call it a day, still 40 yards short of the record. Now split backs with Hayden and Henderson. Bono fakes. Throws it complete to Henderson. You heard the crash as he has collapsed at the 25 by Jet Burris. Well, that play, that bizarre happening in the first quarter.
So what happens here, you see Jackson 31, the ball just nips him, results in a touchdown. Here's Tasker. See, he gets on the back judge's arms. He actually touches the back judge, Tom Sifferman, and Carey, the referee. I mean, that is standard procedure. You touch the official, you're out of here.
And for more, let's go to Jim Gray.
All right, thank you, Tom. Well, at halftime, Mike Carey was spoken to and released the following statement. Asked why he ejected Steve Tasker. He said because he was complaining about a foul and bumped the official while he did that. We have to go by the rule to eject the player if that happens. He was then asked, what official did he bump? And as Randy just said, the back judge, Tom Sifferman. And then Mike Carey was finally asked, were you aware that this was his final game? Carey responded, of course, that's not a license. It's unfortunate, but it's not a license. Tom?
All right, so Steve Tasker, who was so excited about playing in Lambeau Stadium, his final career game, ejected after that argument, which you saw. And ironically enough, the play didn't really even involve him. He was receiving the punt, was going to return it. He let it go, and it hit a teammate, Ray Jackson. So he came back to argue when he actually wasn't even involved in the touching of the football. Bono hands to Hayden. Hayden using his blockers effectively. Blast down the sideline. Now just past midfield where he's bumped out of bounds by John Holasek. A 19-yard gain by Hayden, getting some playing time. Third leading rusher for the Packers this season.
He played for the San Diego Chargers until last year. Picked up by the Green Bay Packers and has been a great add. He's really straightened out the attitude that seemed to be a problem with San Diego.
Mike Holmgren wants to get a chance to get him in there, see what exactly he can do in this type of situation, giving Levens the break. And 40 yards short of that record, he told us yesterday, hey, I'm a free agent. I'm going to test the market. I'm going to see what's going on. But if I'm back here in Green Bay next year, I guarantee you I will break that record next year.
He did say he wanted to stay in Green Bay, though he will test the free agent market, saying he had exceeded his own expectations as well as everyone else's this season. Had set a goal for himself of 1,000 yards. And within 40 of passing Jim Taylor for the all-time record.
Well, in these days of the proverbial, to steal that line, often used and overused, of show me the money, this is one of the few organizations, both Green Bay, San Francisco, there's a few others out there around the league where players want to play for these football teams. And they'll test markets, but one of the things you have to consider, I mean, Gilbert Brown could have gotten more money out of Jacksonville as a free agent last year. Took less money to stay here in Green Bay with this organization and this football team. You have to realize, as an athlete, sometimes the special opportunities to play on a special team are worth giving up the money for.
Bono using the clock effectively, taking it down to 2 seconds on the play clock before handing to Hayden. Olasek the tackle for Buffalo. 24-14 as we come to the 7:40 mark in the fourth quarter. Holmgren and the Packers will take a few days off to celebrate Christmas. Back to work on Friday. They'll have 4 practices total next week. A couple before Christmas, then a break, and then back on Friday before preparing in earnest for the playoffs. They won't know who they'll play until after the wild card weekend. Schrader caught it, fumbled it. The whole thing goes as an incomplete pass. Went through Schrader's hands and out, through Manny Martin's hands and out.
Yeah, just when I was about to say it was a very measured, efficient drive so far by the Green Bay Packers. This has to rear its ugly head. Schrader, who had a problem earlier in the year and fumbling some kicks, never really quite gets a handle on it. And Manny Martin is probably the most shocked person in this entire field right now that even saw that ball.
Hendrick will punt. Jeff Burris, fair catch. And he makes it at the 16-yard line. 30-yard punt. NBC tonight.
I'm your guardian angel.
A holiday tradition you can't see anywhere but here.
I want to live again. Welcome home, Mr. Bailey.
Plus, a tribute to Jimmy Stewart hosted by Garth Brooks.
Merry Christmas!
It's A Wonderful Life, tonight at 8, 7 Central, only on NBC.
One of the classic films, although not considered a classic when first released, only in recent years has it come to be appreciated for the classic film that it is. Jimmy Stewart, It's a Wonderful Life on NBC tonight. Alex Van Pelt down just 10 points, and a catch made by Quinn Early. Caught it in stride from Van Pelt all the way to the 45-yard line. That's a 30-yard gain.
And Tom, this is Van Pelt's time of the game. This is where he's used to coming into football games. He talked about the difficulty of getting readjusted to being a starter instead of being thrown into the fire. Well, the fire is burning, he's in it, and this is what he's used to.
Screen pass, flag down. Derek Holmes with the reception. A hold against Buffalo will nullify that one, and that's been the sad story for the Bills oftentimes today. Second half, though, has belonged to the Bills. 11 first downs to only 2 for Green Bay.
Holding on the offense, number 79. 10-yard first down.
That's Reuben Brown, and I believe it's his second penalty today. The Pro Bowl performer.
So also getting great pressure on that play was Paul Freys, used to be with the New York Jets. And it is literally a medical marvel. You hear about all these guys coming back, but Paul Freys, 4, 5, 6 weeks ago had back surgery. And he's back playing football. It was at arthroscopic microsurgery, but he was operated on his back, and he's back doing this.
Van Pelt, incomplete, intended for Johnson. It'll be second down and 20 for the Bills with 6:11 remaining. This game appeared to be a rout until the Bills took advantage of some Green Bay backup players in the game in the second half and have pulled within 10.
I think a lot of the impact and the slowdown has been from the Green Bay Packers in general. I don't know if we can lay it off on backups so much, Tom, and the fact that this Packer team has just had no pulse and no consistency since Brett Favre left the field.
Draw play, Derek Holmes wrapped up immediately. Looked like he had a little daylight at first, and then Lamont Honigquist put the clamps on him. Van Pelt for the day said he wasn't regarding this as an audition, but his numbers for the day, 18 of 34, 184 yards, no touchdowns, 2 intercepted. There you see it in graphic form. What's your assessment of Van Pelt?
I think Van Pelt has got the opportunity to prove to some coaches here with his performance that he has the ability to be a good, solid backup quarterback.
He airs this one out. And it's knocked down, intended for Reese. Mark Collins goes upstairs to deflect it, incomplete.
You know, Alex Van Pelt has proven on occasion this year that he can be a spark-type quarterback. And sometimes that's your lot in life, is to be a spot guy, a guy whose responsibility is to make things happen. And maybe that's what he's proven today to this Buffalo staff.
Yes, Thurman Thomas yesterday said if they name you general manager next week, what would you do about the quarterback situation? He said, for sure, I'd go get a veteran quarterback for his leadership, if nothing else. He thought that Todd Collins had the physical tools. Wasn't too sure about whether Van Pelt did or not. As this punt takes a Green Bay bounce. And playing today without Andre Reed, Eric Moulds, who's injured during the game, and Tasker was thrown out. So he hasn't had a sparkling receiving corps on the other end of those aerials either. Well, NBC has a Christmas gift for you. Christmas Day, the NBA on NBC with its seasonal debut, a doubleheader starting at 2:30 Eastern with NBA Showtime. Then the 4 teams that met in last season's conference finals take the floor. Game 1, Charles Barkley and the Rockets against Karl Malone, John Stockton, who's back in the Utah Jazz. Then in Game 2, Alonzo Mourning has returned to action. He and the Heat will take on Michael Jordan and the Bulls. That's the NBA on NBC, a doubleheader on Christmas Day.
Alonzo Mourning made a little difference yesterday coming back Miami. 12 points, 13 rebounds. Looks like a different team when he's on the floor for the Heat.
And why not? He is one of the very best. As Hayden carries for a short gain, Holisek the tackle. And now the Packers will try to just get this one over with and get on about the holidays as we approach the 5-minute mark, and Buffalo stops the clock with a timeout. Second half possessions have been much ado about nothing.
Yeah, well, the most important thing on there is no number 4. That explains that entire graphic right there. No Brett Favre.
I had to turn my head sideways to read that. No number 4.
But you want a better, illustration. We talk about MVPs. How average does this offense look without that guy in there?
He wishes he was back in Mississippi right now. He looks a little cold. And of course, there are 29 other teams that can say no number 4, because there is indeed only one Brett Favre sitting next to Reggie White. That's quite the daily double right there.
And Tom, that's the kind of backup quarterback that has done it. Remember, this is a guy who was in Atlanta, was a number 3 quarterback. Ron Wolf and Mike Holmgren got him from Atlanta for a number 1 pick. That's the kind of quarterback that in a ideal world, Marv Levy and the Bills are looking for. They want to steal a young guy that can be a star, but I got news for you, folks. There was one of those. Next time the Comet Kohoutek comes back, another Brett Favre will be 3rd string somewhere.
When will that be back?
No time soon.
Well, top picks coming out of the draft for those that may be shopping in the draft, especially for a quarterback. Peyton Manning, Tennessee, Ryan Leaf, though he's an underclassman. Rumors that he might elect to come out, and people admire his strong arm. There are some of the others that will be available, and talk about receivers. Randy Moss from Marshall, if he does elect to come out.
Phenomenal talent. But, if I'm a struggling team, I think, unless I have just an absolute burning need, I do what Bill Parcells very astutely did last year, and that's trade that pick
get me more bodies. More bodies in the higher type rounds will get you a lot healthier than spending all kinds of money on one kid who might not work out.
And Marv Levy will be 73 years old next season. He's coming back. Ralph Wilson, his owner, has said Marv can come back if he wants. Ralph Wilson, by the way, had back surgery a few weeks ago, not here today, a rare miss of a game for Ralph Wilson. But and Marv is not interested in presiding over any complete overhaul of the team, no rebuilding job. He wants immediate help, especially with Bruce Smith and some of the veterans of this team now on the downward slope of their careers. He wants to get some help immediately and return to contender status right away.
Yeah, I mean, a young quarterback, a young potential player is a green banana. And when you're 73 and coaching in the NFL, you don't need too many green bananas around you that'll ripen someday for somebody else.
Or sometimes they over-ripen. As Burris signals fair catch and makes it, as it's become here recently a game of punt and catch with 4:49 left. That one covered 46 yards.
Put a little bit of perspective on what Marv Levy's done in these days of coaching being changed so quickly, trailing only Tom Kelly of the Minnesota Twins. And that's a pretty good group. Jerry Sloan is a guy from the Utah Jazz. You know, as often as coaches change in the NBA, almost like the NHL, how does a guy hang around there that long? Could it be Stockton Malone have anything to do with that?
They just shift positions in the NHL, don't they?
Yep.
Van Pelt's gone all the way at quarterback. That one a bad one. To it right to Sharper. And Sharper takes the third interception off Van Pelt in for the touchdown. And he'll have something to brag about when he returns to Richmond over Christmas vacation with his brother Jamie. He lost all those battles because Jamie was always bigger and stronger when they fought as youths. When he went to William & Mary and Jamie went to UVA, they played a couple of times. Jamie won both those. But this time, Sharper and the Packers are going to the postseason. Jamie's going to be at home.
Well, last time he did this earlier this year, he returns an interception for a touchdown then. Team got back late. Said I saw it in Sports Center late a couple times. Got up again, saw it in Sports Center early. Saw it again on the game tapes. Didn't over-enjoy it, but he'll get a chance to do a little over-enjoying with a couple weeks off there. That one.
Third touchdown of the season, 2 on interception returns, 1 on a fumble return. Darren Sharper working the crowd while we were away in that commercial, trying to pump him up a little bit. He's pumped up. Had a 50-yard interception return for a touchdown against Detroit. 34-yard fumble return touchdown against Dallas. And now takes one in against the Buffalo Bills. Holmes fumbles, picks it up, and returns it to the 24. Travis Jervey, who's headed to the Pro Bowl as a special teams performer, makes the stop for Green Bay.
Travis Jervey is a special teams guy that, you know, kind of we talk about Steve Tasker being thrown out of the game, but Tasker set the level that guys like Jervey are now, you know, aspiring towards. And the only difference between a Tasker and a Jervey is Jervey's just not right. I mean, no matter who you talk to, they say this guy's just a little bit different. But folks, if you've never run down on a kickoff, there are no sane, normal people running down on kickoffs.
Made a diving stab at that one. Incomplete. Stops the clock at 4:28. Well, this season, 13 wins as Van Pelt has found the going tough here recently. Holmgren will get 13 wins to match last season and to equal the all-time Green Bay record. And the way they started the season with all those key injuries, you had to wonder if they would be able to match that 13-win total. And Pelt complete to a wide-open receiver. It's Quinn Early. And he's to the 48-yard line. Buffalo first down. 29-yard gain. But Green Bay has indeed shaken off those injuries and gotten to the point where they are playing well, peaking at playoff time, coming off that road string. Kind of throw out today's game, which kind of was a quirk in that with San Francisco's win over Denver meant nothing.
And really, this team is right where Mike Holmgren told them they were going to be when they were going through all that with their injuries. He said, hey, guys, you know, we've got no starters in this position, this position, this position. We need people to step up, and we need people to get healthy. When we do get healthy, we're going to be tough. And here are the guys that Mike Holmgren specifically mentioned as really stepping up. A lot of guys, most of those started. We talked about Ross Verba a lot. Jeff Dallenbach has started at every position, played at every position for the Packers at offensive line except for right tackle.
And long snap for the boot. As Van Pelt, oh, what a grab by Early. Early just snagged that one and has another Buffalo first down. That is his 6th catch of the game. He's over 100 yards, 112 to be exact.
And just a nice throw to get it in the general area and then stretching the proverbial fiber, every bit of it in the body to get the hands out for that pass by Quinn Early.
Quinn Early, a dependable veteran and still playing hard. Over 6,000 yards in his career now. He's had 50-plus receptions 4 straight seasons. Derek Holmes gets very little, maybe lost a yard. Darius Holland on the defense.
There are a lot of backups in right now for the defensive line for the Green Bay Packers, and we've talked a lot about that defense on the for the Packers here at Lambeau Field, and the only real glaring person missing from this defense last year that won a Super Bowl was Sean Jones. And Gabe Wilkins has come in and done a great job replacing Sean Jones, so he really has not been missed.
Lonnie Johnson with a catch, his 4th of the game. Hoping to win back-to-back Super Bowls. That's pretty select company. Cowboys were the last to do it. Will Green Bay join that list of repeat Super Bowl winners?
Well, I was
one of the favorites.
I was on the front end of that San Francisco repeat in 23, and then they missed me so much they did it again in 24 after I retired.
They were inspired by you.
Bill Walsh left, I left, and
the beat went on.
We got the general. So what, guys? See ya.
Mark Collins deflecting that pass in the end zone. 4th down play.
And Mike Holmgren, you know, does not look happy. And obviously he's not happy because he's just not seeing that focused performance he went out and wanted to see. People will be afraid of Brett Favre over this. They won't be afraid of much else.
Quinn Early makes the catch for the Buffalo first down. That's their 3rd 4th down attempt of the game. First one they have converted against Fritz Shurmur's defense.
Hey, I think this is the best defensive coordinator in the game right now. I mean, hand signals aside, which you can rarely figure out.
Looked like he was reeling in a big one there.
This guy is sort of the nutty professor of the NFL. He'll always find a way to stop things on an offense.
Screen pass to Antoine Smith. He's out of bounds inside the 10, marking it about the 6-yard line. Shurmur not happy.
Well, you saw that reeling out the line. They reeled out a little too much line for him. I mean, once they bite, you got to yank that line and bring that fish in. Well, this fish and the young man Antoine Smith out of the University of Houston catches that tip pass, and there's no reeling this guy in. See Williams trying to fight off the block right there by Jerry Reese and barely gets him out of bounds.
Keith McKenzie tapped the pass, still complete. Van Pelt with a little touch as a flag goes down.
And Hollingquest with a lot of touch is going to be called for pass interference.
Or a hold. Penalty marred game on both sides.
Illegal hands to the face. On the defense, number 90. Half the distance to the goal, automatic. First down.
That's Holland.
Darius Holland in a defensive end call for that hand in the face. You know, this performance, if anything else, with 13 penalties, they've had the turnovers. Buffalo's moved the ball against Shurmur's defense. Really gives Holmgren a great opportunity to say, you know, this is why we're not taking that much time off. We have got to get sharper and get ready for the playoffs coming up here in a couple weeks.
Antoine Smith already has scored 2 touchdowns, stopped just short of the goal line by Mike Pryor. Spot the ball at the 1-yard line, 2nd down. Coming up to the 2-minute warning. Van Pelt sneaks it across for the touchdown.
Somebody put their arms up. There you go.
Thank you.
Finally, a signal for a touchdown.
Delayed for 30 seconds in the end zone. All along, the clock continued to roll, and it's right down to 2 minutes. A break for the 2-minute timeout after the Van Pelt touchdown.
KFC presents Goal to Go. With under 2 minutes to play in last season's Week 7 contest, Buffalo faced 4th down from the Miami 10-yard line, down by 7. Jim Kelly looked for Andre.
Back in Green Bay, they put 5 seconds back on the clock, and they attempt the extra point. It's knocked through by Christie. Now 2:05, so we'll have the kickoff and then the 2-minute timeout. Well, we noted that during the time that Van Pelt was on his back in the end zone without a touchdown call, that the clock continued to roll, so they put 5 seconds back. And while they get ready for the kickoff, we'll take a break. We'll be right back. Back in Green Bay at 2:05. Yes, we still have the 2-minute timeout to go. 31-21, a 10-point game once again.
And the hands team on the field for the Green Bay Packers anticipating this onside kick.
Christie has it teed up for the onside attempt.
The ball's teed up like that. So the ball takes that 1-2 big bounce up in the air.
Has to go 10 yards, and it does not. Recovered by the Packers, Darren Sharper. He's all over the place. Sharper takes the onside kick attempt. And no fooling this time. We really will stop for the 2-minute warning. Back in Green Bay, third Green Bay quarterback of the day under center. That's Doug Peterson, who has the honor of taking a knee. Doesn't even get to run a play with the clock ticking away and the Bills out of timeouts. Peterson in his 5th season from Northeast Louisiana, playing for the first time this season. Had 3 years in Miami. 8 total games played. This is the 9th in his career, also in the World League. And best known as the answer to a trivia question, placing Scott Mitchell as Don Shula of the Dolphins won record number 325. The game I happened to do in Philadelphia. And no sooner do we mention that than we'll have a look at same. 1993, November 14th. Field goal gave the victory number 325 to Don Shula, setting the record for that 1914 victory, and the quarterback was none other than Doug Peterson. There he is, now in the green and gold of Green Bay.
Boy, anytime you see a quarterback playing for the Dolphins other than Dan Marino, it looks funny.
It does, doesn't it?
It seems like he's been there forever and has, just always been there.
That was the year he was out, replaced by Mitchell, and then Mitchell hurt, and it was Peterson that presided over the record breaker. And the Green Bay Packers will win number 13 and now plan for the postseason. They beat Buffalo to open the preseason, or one of their preseason games. They closed the regular season with a victory over the Bills. And now 23 straight wins here at Lambeau Field for the Green Bay Packers. And Brett Favre had a good day. The rest were just so-so.
Average at best. A lot of mistakes. But this has been a great performance by Favre trying to make that MVP statement.
And Jim Gray is with Mike Holmgren and Brett Favre. Jim?
All right, thank you very much, Tom. Mike, was this the statement you were looking for? It seemed in places maybe a little sloppy.
Well, it's never easy, Jim, and we were a little sloppy, but the guys played hard. And I really wanted them to come out and play hard in a game that was going to be a little different game for us, and they did that.
What do you do now with all the time off to begin preparations for the playoffs?
Well, we're going to enjoy the Christmas season, and but we're going to work a couple, 3 days during the week and just keep them going. and then when we find out who we play, really get after it.
13-3, the same record as last year. Now you try and repeat here. Can you compare these two teams as you are at this time and place to where you were last year at this time and place?
Well, I think it's comfortable. You know, we're peaking, I think, at the right time, like we did last year. And but it's a different season, a different team, but pretty close.
This guy right here, the MVP?
I think so. I voted for him.
Mike, Merry Christmas. Congratulations.
Same to you.
Brett, 13-3 here this year, 8-0 at home. Was this your best year ever?
I feel like it. You know, sometimes the
Bruce Smith with a little Christmas present.
I feel like it was. Decision making and leadership was better. You know, sometimes statistics don't show that, but with 13-3, where we were last year, and I'm pleased with it.
It's difficult for you to campaign, but you have 2 MVP awards. You'd like to have the 3rd. Were you as good this year as you've been in the other 2 MVP years?
Well, I believe so, but I tell you what, there's been some guys who had some great years. Obviously, Barry Sanders has played great. And Terrell Davis has played great. Steve Young's played great. I'm not really worried about it. I'd much rather win a Super Bowl, but whatever happens, happens.
23 straight here, 8-0 this year here, but the possibility exists that you may have to go on the road in the playoffs. Does that bother you?
Well, I'd much rather play here, don't get me wrong, but if everything works out the way both teams hope to, we'll be at San Francisco. They're a great football team. They deserve to be at home this year. Steve has done a great job out there with them. We have to go play them. It'll be a tough battle, but we'll see what happens.
Now, almost everybody's worst fears in the first series of downs when you were smacked pretty hard and had trouble getting up. Are you okay? And tell us about that hit.
Well, I'm okay. I got the wind knocked out of me, and if you ever had that happen to you, it scares you more than anything, and I just couldn't breathe, and it's a matter of time before I got up.
Heading home to Mississippi now for the holidays?
I'm going to go home and hopefully play a little golf or something and relax a little bit, but we got to get back in and get to work.
Get a bunch of birdies. Merry Christmas.
All right, Jim. Thank you.
All right, let's send it back upstairs now to Tom Hammond.
All right, Jim, thank you very much. And Brett Favre was up to MVP form in his first half performance today. A long afternoon for Bruce Smith and the Bills. Final 31-21. Now for Randy Cross and Jim Gray, Tom Hammond sending you to Greg Gumbel in New York.
This is the Sun America post-game report. Here's your host, Greg Gumbel.
Tom Hammond, thank you. Welcome back to our studios here in New York, everyone. Joining me, Joe Gibbs, Sam Weish, Chris Collinsworth. So, you heard Jim Gray, Mike Holmgren, Brett Favre talking about the Green Bay Packers, 13-3 this season, 23 consecutive regular season wins at Lambeau Field, 26 in a row, including the playoffs. The Packers hit the playoffs just the right stride. They have won 10 of their last 11, and just another terrific day for Favre, 156 yards and 2 touchdowns in a limited role. Now, we remind you, we have a big doubleheader coming your way tomorrow, beginning at noon Eastern Time with the pregame show. Here's a preview. The final Sunday of the regular season posts some exciting matchups for the NFL on NBC, beginning with the Indianapolis Colts facing the Minnesota Vikings. The Colts have been one of the hottest teams in the NFL. Last week, they embarrassed the Dolphins 41-0. Jim Harbaugh connected for a career-high 4 touchdowns, 3 to tight end Ken Dilger. The playoffs are on the line for Minnesota. Win and they clinch a wild-card berth. The Vikes come off one of their best defensive performances so far. John Randall had 3 sacks, and Randall Cunningham rushed for 71 yards.
You know, they're not quitters. They lost those, 10 games in a row. And you would never know it when you watch them on film. I think their defense is ranked number 3. They're not a slouch. They're guys who are going to come together and be a great team in the future.
Kansas City has clinched home field throughout the playoffs, and with a win Sunday, the Steelers clinched their 4th consecutive AFC Central title and the number 2 spot in the AFC. Kevin Henry's interception last week led to the dramatic overtime win over the Patriots.
I'm just concerned about going out and making the right reads and getting guys the ball that are open and letting them do the things they need to do to get the ball in the end zone.
Among our late games, the most interesting is the Jets and the Lions. Both teams are looking to clinch a playoff berth, and Barry Sanders is looking to surpass 2,000 rushing yards for the season. Barry needs 131 yards to join Eric Dickerson and O.J. Simpson as the only runners to reach 2,000 yards in a season.
It's all going to go hand in hand. In order for us to win the game, he's going to have to run the ball well, and if he's running the ball well, it'll increase our chances of getting to 2,000 yards.
The Jets come off a 31-0 rout of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Otis Smith returned 2 interceptions for scores, and Leon Johnson had a 101-yard kickoff return for the New Yorkers.
I'm
think they're a pretty good club. They've played their best football recently. They have diverse weapons, veteran quarterback, veteran receivers, veteran runner.
Our playoffs start for us, obviously, right now. You know, it goes, from here on out. If we win 5 straight games, then obviously we win the whole thing. So, and if we don't, we go home early.
Can the Colts continue their spoiling streak? Will Barry run for 2,000? Tune in tomorrow to the NFL on NBC for all the exciting NFL action. Remember the Warren Zevon album, Excitable Boy? That's Chris Collinsworth. You are greatly anticipating this matchup between the Lions and
Jets. You got to love what's happening here with this ball game. First of all, Bill Parcells taking a team that won 1 game the year before, now on the verge of making the playoffs. Looked like they were completely out of it a week ago, and now they're right back in the hunt. And Barry Sanders going for 2,000 yards for the first time. But one of my big questions about this game is, how does Neil O'Donnell handle the situation right now with Glenn Foley looking over his shoulder? All the newspaper reports here in New York City have been about Glenn Foley's ready, put me in, coach, all those sorts of things. It really adds some pressure to Neil O'Donnell.
It adds pressure to Neil O'Donnell, and confidence is so important in any part of football, especially, though, with the guy with the ball in his hand. Not only confidence that he has in himself, but the other players have in him when he sets up. But they've only scored 4 touchdowns now in the last 3 games. They have been ineffective. They have to win this ball game. If they're not moving the ball, look for Glenn Foley.
Joe, think about our coaches here. These 2 guys are first-year guys that have veteran kind of coaches, Bobby Ross, Bill Parcells, who could have done a better job. Throw in Ditka in there on the comeback, and you look at Dan Reeves in Atlanta. I think a fantastic job by older guys. There may be a tendency here to be looking for some older guys to make a comeback.
Unfortunately, I'm still a young buck.
Are we going to have to break in a new guy here for next year?
No,
it's going to be an annual event.
I'll tell you what's an interesting thing about this game, too, is which team has the momentum. The Detroit Lions, who are red hot as far as putting points on the board at home, 42 points a game over the last 3 games. They've won 4 of their last 5, or the New York Jets with an emotional win over the Bucs last week. We will see. When we come back, we'll have highlights of Michael Jordan and the Bulls. But first, we'll step aside for this.